The boy was 14 years old when he walked into a biker clubhouse with blood still fresh on his lip and asked 30 armed men which one of them killed people for free. Rain hammered against blacked-out windows. Cigarette smoke hung thick beneath dim lights. Leather jackets creaked as every head turned toward the kid standing in the doorway wearing his dead father's army hoodie. His left eye was swollen shut. His hands shook. And when he finally spoke, his voice didn't break, it shattered. "My mom's got maybe 3 days before her boyfriend finishes what he started tonight. You're Rex Mercer, right? She said you owed her a life." The biggest biker in the room set down his whiskey and stood up slowly. "Who's asking?" "Her son. Hey, if you're watching this from somewhere in the world where broken people still search for someone who won't abandon them, hit that like button and drop your city in the comments. Because this story, it doesn't start with heroes, it starts with survivors. And sometimes that's the only thing that matters." The Iron Revenants Motorcycle Club didn't advertise. No website, no social media, no public relations campaigns designed to convince anyone they were harmless. They occupied a cinder-block building off Highway 87 south of Black Ridge, Arizona, where the desert stretched out like an open wound and civilization felt like something people only pretended still existed. The building used to be a transmission shop before it went bankrupt in 2009. Now it was a clubhouse. Inside, the air always smelled like motor oil, stale beer, leather, and decades of cigarette smoke that no amount of ventilation could ever truly erase. Rex Mercer sat at this bar on a Tuesday night in late November, staring at black coffee gone cold in a chipped mug. He was 47 years old, 6'3", 230 pounds of scar tissue, broken knuckles, and bad decisions that somehow kept him breathing when better men died young. His beard had gone mostly gray. His hands looked like they'd been rebuilt wrong after too many fights. And his eyes, people said his eyes looked tired in a way that sleep would never fix. Around him, the clubhouse hummed with the low rumble of men who'd learned how to exist in silence. Ghost, the club mechanic, sat near the pool table cleaning grease from underneath his fingernails with a pocket knife. He was 34 but looked 50. Iraq had done that to him. The kind of war that followed you home and made every loud noise feel like incoming fire. Mason leaned against the jukebox scrolling through his phone, his prison tattoos visible beneath rolled-up sleeves. He'd done 7 years in Florence for a bar fight that ended badly. "Self-defense," the jury said. Right. But they still sent him away because the other guy's father was a retired judge. Nobody talked much tonight. Rain battered the tin roof. Thunder rolled across the desert. The overhead lights flickered occasionally, reminding everyone that the wiring in this place was older than most of the bikes parked outside. Then the front door opened. Cold air rushed in. Rain followed. And standing in the doorway was a kid who looked like he'd been thrown down a flight of stairs and told to walk it off. The room went still. The boy stepped inside slowly, dripping water onto concrete floors. He wore an oversized army hoodie with the sleeves pulled down over his hands, faded jeans, torn sneakers held together with duct tape. His lip was split open and crusted with dried blood. His left eye was swollen, almost completely shut, the skin around it a deep purple black that would take weeks to fade. And when he looked around the room, his remaining good eye carried the kind of fear that came from experience, not imagination. Rex set his coffee mug down. The boy's gaze swept across the room. 30 bikers in leather cuts, tattoos, scarred knuckles, and expressions that ranged from curiosity to outright suspicion. Most of them had been soldiers. Some had been inmates. All of them had been broken by systems that promised protection and delivered nothing but trauma. "Which one of you is Rex Mercer?" the boy asked. His voice cracked halfway through the question. Rex stood up slowly. His boots scraped against the floor. The sound echoed. "That depends," Rex said. His voice was low, rough, the kind of voice that sounded like gravel being dragged across sheet metal. "Who's asking?" The boy swallowed hard. His hands trembled inside the hoodie sleeves. "My name's Eli Thorne," he said. "My mom, her name's Kara. She said you saved her life once, in Afghanistan, Helmand Province, 2011. Rex went very still. Around the room, other bikers exchanged glances. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. "She said you pulled her out of a burning Humvee after an IED took out her convoy," Eli continued. His voice was shaking now, words tumbling out too fast. She said you carried her 2 miles through enemy territory while taking fire. She said you told her she was going to live because you promised her little boy back home would have a mom. Rex's jaw tightened. She was Army, Eli said. Combat medic. She got discharged after that. Medical retirement, Purple Heart, all of it. I remember, Rex said quietly. Eli took a step forward. Water dripped from his hoodie. She's going to die, he whispered. The words landed like a grenade in the middle of the room. Rex moved around the bar slowly, his eyes never leaving the kid's face. Up close, the damage was worse. Not just the black eye and split lip. There were older bruises layered underneath, faded yellow marks along his jawline, a scar above his right eyebrow that looked like it came from something sharp. Who did this to you? Rex asked. Eli's good eye flickered toward the floor. Doesn't matter. It does to me. His name's Wade Carver, Eli said finally. He's my mom's boyfriend. Been living with us for 2 years. The boy's voice broke. He clenched his fists inside the sleeves. He put her in the hospital 3 times already. Cops won't do anything. Restraining orders don't work. Social workers keep saying she just needs to leave him. Why doesn't she? Ghost asked from across the room. Eli turned toward him, anger flashing across his bruised face. Because he told her if she leaves, he'll kill both of us. And she believes him. Because last time she tried, he broke her arm in 2 places and told the ER she fell down the stairs. Rex exhaled slowly through his nose. Where's your father? Dead? Eli said. Afghanistan. 2012. Different unit than my mom. Different deployment. He didn't make it home. The room felt colder. So it's just you and her, Shikut, Rex said. Yeah. And Wade. Eli nodded. Rex looked at the kid for a long moment. 14 years old, maybe 90 pounds, soaking wet. Standing in a biker clubhouse asking grown men to fix problems that law enforcement, social services, and an entire legal system couldn't solve. Why'd you come here, Ent? Rex asked. Because my mom said you were the only person who didn't leave her behind when it mattered, Eli said. His voice was barely above a whisper now. She said you were dangerous, but she also said you kept promises. Rex glanced over his shoulder at the other bikers. Mason nodded once. Ghost set down his knife. A few others shifted in their seats, leather creaking. Where's your mom now? Rex asked. Home, Eli said. Wade went out drinking an hour ago. She told me to run. Gave me $40 in your name, said if anyone could help, it was you. And if we can't? Eli's jaw tightened. Then I'm going back with a knife. The words hung in the air like smoke. Rex crouched down slightly so he was eye level with the boy. This close, he could see the exhaustion, the fear, the kind of desperation that came from years of living in survival mode with no end in sight. You ever use a knife on someone before? Rex asked quietly. No. Good, because the first time changes you, and you don't get to undo it. Eli's hands were shaking harder now. I don't care, he whispered. I just want him to stop. Rex stood up slowly. He turned toward the bar, grabbed a clean rag and tossed it to Eli. Wipe your face, he said. Then sit down. You're not going anywhere tonight. Eli caught the rag but didn't move. You gonna help her? Rex met his eyes. Yeah. Why? Because your mom was right, Rex said. I keep promises. The rain didn't let up. It hammered the roof in relentless waves while Eli sat at the bar with a soda and a plate of cold pizza someone pulled from the fridge. The kid ate like he hadn't seen food in days, fast, mechanical, barely tasting it. Rex watched him from across the room while Ghost and Mason stood nearby, arms crossed, expressions unreadable. What's the play? Mason asked quietly. Don't know yet, Rex said. Kid's telling the truth, Ghost said. I can see it in his eyes. I know. So what do we do? Rex didn't answer immediately. He stared at the rain streaking down the windows, his mind running through scenarios. He'd seen this before. Guys like Wade. Men who used fear and violence to control people because it was the only power they'd ever had. Restraining orders didn't stop them. Cops couldn't prevent what hadn't happened yet. And by the time the system finally moved, the victim was usually dead. We make sure Wade knows he's not untouchable anymore. Rex said finally. That's vague, Mason said. It's supposed to be. You know how this ends, right? Ghost said. We get involved, and we're going to cross lines. Maybe legal ones. Maybe moral ones. I've crossed worse, Rex said. Mason exhaled slowly. All right, he said. But if this goes sideways, it won't. How do you know? Rex looked at him. Because I don't lose kids twice. The words carried weight that nobody questioned. Across the room, Eli finished the pizza and set the plate down carefully, like he was afraid of breaking something. His hands were still shaking. His good eye kept darting toward the door, like he expected Wade to kick it open any second. Rex walked over and sat down beside him. You got a phone? Rex asked. Eli shook his head. Wade took it last month, said I didn't need one. What? Alas, yo shaboy. Of course he did. Rex pulled out his own phone and slid it across the bar. Call your mom. Tell her you're safe. Don't tell her where you are. Eli stared at the phone. What if Wade answers? Then hang up. Eli picked up the phone slowly, his hands trembling. He dialed a number from memory and pressed it to his ear. The sound of ringing filled the silence. Once, twice, 3 times. Then a woman's voice, hoarse, exhausted. Hello? Mom? Eli whispered. Oh, God. Eli, where are you? Are you safe? Yeah, I'm with someone who knew Dad. A long pause. Did you find Rex? Yeah? Another pause, longer this time. Rex could hear her breathing through the phone. Put him on, she said finally. Eli handed the phone to Rex. Rex took it and pressed it to his ear. Kara. Rex. Her voice was tight, controlled, like she was holding back tears. You remember me? I remember. I didn't think I'd ever call in that favor. You shouldn't have had to. A shaky breath. Is Eli okay? He's got a black eye and a split lip, Rex said. But yeah, he's okay. Wade's going to come looking for him. Let him. Rex. I said let him. Silence. I don't want you getting hurt because of us, Kara said quietly. Little late for that, Rex said. I'm already involved. Why? Because 13 years ago, I pulled you out of a burning vehicle and told you that you were going to live. And I meant it. He could hear her crying now, soft, broken sounds that she tried to muffle. I don't know what to say, she whispered. Don't say anything. Just stay inside tonight. Lock the doors. Keep your phone on you. And then what? Then we handle Wade. How? Rex glanced at the bikers around him. However we need to. He ended the call and handed the phone back to Eli. The kid looked up at him with wide eyes. What now? Eli asked. Now you stay here, Rex said. We've got a spare room in the back. It's not much, but it's got a bed and a door that locks. What about my mom? We'll check on her. When? Tonight. Eli's jaw tightened. I want to come. No, but... I said no. Rex's voice was firm, but not cruel. You've done your part. You found me. You told me what's happening. Now let me do mine. Eli looked like he wanted to argue, but something in Rex's eyes stopped him. You promise you'll keep her safe? Eli asked. Yeah. Even if it gets messy? Rex didn't hesitate. Especially if it gets messy. Deck 9. 30 minutes later, Rex stood in the rain outside a rusted, double-wide trailer on the outskirts of Black Ridge. The place looked like it had been abandoned and then reluctantly reoccupied by people who didn't have better options. Peeling paint, broken shutters, a chain-link fence that barely stood upright, the kind of home that spoke to years of struggling and losing. Behind him, Ghost and Mason sat on their bikes, engines idling, headlights cutting through the rain. Rex approached the front door and knocked 3 times. Silence. He knocked again. The door opened a crack. A woman's face appeared, mid-30s, exhausted, with dark circles under her eyes and a fresh bruise along her cheekbone. Her hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail. She wore an old sweatshirt and jeans that looked 2 sizes too big. Kara Thorne. She stared at Rex for a long moment, her eyes scanning his face like she was searching for something familiar in the years that had passed. It's really you, she said quietly. Yeah, you look older. So do you. A faint, bitter smile crossed her face. War does that. So does survival. She glanced past him at the two bikers waiting in the rain. You brought friends. Insurance. Against what? Wade. Kara's expression tightened. He's not here, she said. He went to a bar in town. Won't be back until after midnight. Good. Then we've got time to talk. She hesitated, then stepped aside. Come in. Rex gestured for Ghost and Mason to stay outside. They nodded. He stepped into the trailer and closed the door behind him. The inside was worse than the outside. Cramped. Dark. The smell of stale cigarettes and cheap air freshener. Furniture that looked like it came from thrift stores. A TV with a cracked screen. And everywhere, there were signs of control. No pictures on the walls, no personal items. Nothing that suggested Kara or Eli had any claim to this space beyond temporary occupancy. Kara moved to the small kitchen and leaned against the counter, arms crossed. Eli told you everything? She asked. Enough. Did he tell you Wade's a vet too? Rex went still. No. Marines, Iraq, got out in 2014. Honorable discharge, PTSD, anger management issues. The VA tried to help him, but... She shrugged. You know how that goes. I do. He wasn't always like this, Kara said quietly. When I met him, he was different, broken, yeah, but not dangerous. I thought I could help him, thought I understood him because I'd been there too. And I was wrong. Her voice cracked. By the time I realized what he really was, it was too late. He isolated me, got me fired from 2 jobs because he'd show up drunk and cause scenes, convinced me that nobody else would ever want me because I was damaged goods. And Eli? She closed her eyes. Eli tried to protect me, 14 years old, and he's trying to stand between me and a man twice his size. Rex's hands clenched into fists. Where's Wade now? Exactly. Keep us as Murphy's Tavern, downtown. He goes there every Tuesday. Alone? Usually. Rex pulled out his phone and sent a quick text to Mason. The response came back immediately. Got it. We'll keep eyes on him. Kara watched him. What are you planning? She asked. Making sure he doesn't hurt you or Eli again. How? Rex met her eyes. Does it matter? She stared at him for a long moment. I can't ask you to do something illegal, she said finally. You're not asking. I'm offering. Why? Because 13 years ago you saved 3 soldiers before that IED took out your convoy. You stayed calm while bleeding out. You kept them alive until I got there. And when I pulled you out of that fire, you didn't scream, you didn't panic. You looked at me and said, don't leave them. So I went back. And I got them out too, because of you. Kara's eyes filled with tears. I don't remember that. I do. She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. What happens if Wade doesn't back down? She asked. Then we make him. And if that doesn't work? Rex's expression didn't change. It'll work. Wade Carver stumbled out of Murphy's Tavern at 11:47 p.m., drunk, angry, and looking for a reason to make someone else feel worse than he did. He was 39 years old, 6'1", 200 pounds of muscle gone soft from years of alcohol and rage. He wore a stained flannel shirt, ripped jeans, and work boots caked with dried mud. He climbed into his truck, a rusted Chevy Silverado with a cracked windshield and an expired registration, and started the engine. The radio blared country music. He cranked it louder, drowning out the rain, and pulled out of the parking lot. He made it 3 blocks before he noticed the headlights following him. 2 motorcycles. Riding close. Too close. Wade squinted into the rearview mirror. The bike stayed on him through 2 turns, matching his speed. He slowed down. They slowed down. He sped up. They sped up. What the hell? He muttered. He pulled into an empty gas station parking lot and threw the truck into park. The motorcycles pulled in behind him, engines rumbling. Wade climbed out of the truck, fists clenched, adrenaline cutting through the alcohol haze. You got a problem? He shouted. The bikers killed their engines. Silence filled the space, broken only by the sound of rain hammering against metal and asphalt. The first biker dismounted slowly, tall, broad-shouldered, gray beard. Leather cut with a patch that read Iron Revenants MC across the back. Rex Mercer. The second biker stayed on his bike, arms crossed, watching. Wade's eyes narrowed. Who the hell are you? Rex walked forward slowly, hands loose at his sides. Name's Rex. Don't know you. You know Kara Thorne. Wade's expression darkened. That bitch send you? Rex's jaw tightened, but his voice stayed calm. She didn't send anyone. I came on my own. Why? Because you put your hands on her kid. Wade laughed, a harsh, bitter sound. That little shit came crying to you. Figures, kid's weak, just like his mom. Rex stopped walking. He stood 10 feet away, rain soaking into his leather jacket. Here's how this works, Rex said quietly. You don't touch Kara again. You don't touch Eli again. You pack your things and you leave. Tonight. Wade stared at him for a moment. Then he laughed again. Or what? Or we make you leave. We? Wade looked past Rex at the other biker. There's two of you. You think that scares me? Rex didn't answer. Wade took a step forward, fists raised. I'm a Marine, asshole. I've killed people in countries you can't even spell. You think some wannabe outlaw biker is gonna... He didn't finish the sentence. Rex moved faster than a man his size should be able to move. 1 second he was standing still. The next, his fist connected with Wade's jaw hard enough to snap his head sideways. Wade staggered back, blood pouring from his mouth. What the... Rex hit him again. This time in the ribs. The sound of cracking bone echoed across the parking lot. Wade dropped to his knees, gasping. Rex crouched down in front of him, his voice low and cold. You want to know the difference between you and me? Rex said. I don't hit people weaker than me. I don't terrorize women and kids. And I sure as hell don't hide behind a uniform I disgraced. Wade spat blood onto the asphalt. You're dead, he rasped. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill her. I'm gonna... Rex grabbed him by the throat and lifted him halfway off the ground. No, Rex said quietly. You're not. He held Wade there for a moment, long enough for the man to understand exactly how powerless he was, and then dropped him onto the wet pavement. Wade lay there, gasping, blood pooling beneath his face. Rex stood up and looked down at him. You've got 24 hours to disappear, Rex said. If you're still in Black Ridge after that, we come back. And next time I won't stop with a warning. He turned and walked back to his bike. Mason waited until Rex climbed on, then started his engine. They rode out of the parking lot, leaving Wade lying in the rain beneath flickering fluorescent lights, broken and bleeding and, for the first time in years, afraid. Back at the clubhouse, Eli sat on a cot in the spare room, unable to sleep. His mind raced. He kept replaying the last 2 hours in his head, running through the rain, finding the clubhouse, standing in front of 30 dangerous men and asking for help. And Rex saying yes, just like that. No hesitation, no conditions, just yes. Eli didn't understand it. In his experience, adults always wanted something. Teachers wanted compliance. Social workers wanted paperwork. Cops wanted evidence. Everyone had an angle. But Rex didn't ask for anything. Eli heard the sound of motorcycles pulling up outside. Boots on concrete. The front door opening and closing. Voices in the main room, low, controlled, discussing something he couldn't make out. Then a knock on his door. Yeah? Eli called out. The door opened. Rex stood in the doorway, rain dripping from his jacket. You awake? Yeah. Rex stepped inside and closed the door behind him. He pulled a folding chair over and sat down heavily, exhaustion written across his face. How's my mom? Eli asked. She's okay. We talked to Wade. And? And he's got 24 hours to leave town. Eli stared at him. That's it? You just told him to leave? Among other things. What other things? Rex didn't answer. Eli's hands clenched into fists. Did you hurt him? Yes. Good. Rex studied the kid's face. You mean that? Yeah, I do. Eli's voice was hard now. He deserves worse. Maybe, but that's not how this works. Then how does it work? Rex leaned back in the chair. You don't solve violence with more violence, he said quietly. You solve it by making sure the violent person understands they're not the strongest thing in the room anymore. That doesn't make sense. It will. Eventually. Eli looked away, jaw tight. What if he doesn't leave? He asked. Rex's expression didn't change. Then we escalate. To what? Whatever it takes. The words hung between them like a promise and a threat all at once. Eli swallowed hard. Why are you doing this, Yam? He asked. You don't know me. You barely know my mom. Why risk everything for people you don't owe anything to? Rex was quiet for a long moment. When he finally spoke, his voice was softer than before. When I was your age, he said, my old man used to beat the hell out of me and my mom. Every night, for years. And nobody did anything. Neighbors heard it, teachers saw the bruises. Cops got called twice. But nothing ever changed. Because guys like my father, they're good at making people think the victim deserves it. Eli stared at him. What happened? He died, Rex said flatly. Drunk driving. Wrapped his truck around a telephone pole when I was 16, and you know what I felt? Yes, what? Relief. Rex met his eyes. Because I didn't have to kill him myself. The room went cold. I spent the next 20 years trying to outrun that feeling, Rex continued. Joined the army, went to war, came home, got out, tried to build something that wasn't just anger and trauma. And you know what I learned? What? That the only way to survive guilt is to make sure someone else doesn't have to carry it. Eli's throat tightened. I don't want to kill anyone, he whispered. I know. But I thought about it tonight, before I came here. I thought about waiting until Wade fell asleep. And I know, Rex said again. But you didn't. You came here instead. And that's why you're going to be okay. How do you know? Because you asked for help. And that's the hardest thing a person can do. Eli's eyes filled with tears. He wiped them away quickly. Ashamed. I'm not a kid, he said. I don't cry. Yeah, you do, Rex said. Everyone does, even me. Really? Really? Eli looked at him. This huge, scarred, dangerous man sitting in a folding chair looking more tired than anyone Eli had ever seen. What happens now? Eli asked. Rex stood up slowly. Now you sleep. Tomorrow, we figure out the rest. And Wade? Rex's expression hardened. Wade's not your problem anymore. He walked to the door, then stopped and looked back. Hey, kid. Yeah? You did good tonight. Walking in here took guts. Eli didn't know what to say. Rex nodded once, then stepped out and closed the door behind him. Eli lay back on the cot, staring at the ceiling, his mind finally starting to quiet. For the first time in months, maybe years, he felt something he'd almost forgotten. Safe. But safety was a fragile thing, and Wade Carver wasn't the kind of man who accepted defeat quietly. At 2:17 a.m., while Eli slept and the Iron Revenant settled in for the night, Wade sat in his truck outside the trailer, engine running, rain hammering the windshield. His jaw was broken. 3 ribs cracked. His pride shattered. He stared at the darkened windows of the trailer where Kara was sleeping, his hands gripping the steering wheel so hard his knuckles turned white. In the passenger seat sat a loaded .45 caliber pistol, and in his mind there was only one thought repeating over and over like a mantra. They think they can take everything from me. They're wrong. He put the truck in gear and drove toward the clubhouse. The headlights cut through the rain like knives. Wade's truck crawled down the empty highway at 15 miles per hour, wipers struggling against the downpour. His hand shook on the steering wheel, not from fear, but from rage so pure it felt like acid burning through his veins. The .45 sat cold and heavy in his lap. He'd loaded it in the parking lot of Murphy's Tavern while blood dripped from his broken jaw onto his shirt. The clubhouse sat a quarter-mile ahead. Single-story, cinder block, a dozen motorcycles parked outside under a tin awning. Lights still on inside despite the late hour. Wade pulled off the road and killed the engine. He sat there in the darkness, rain hammering the roof, staring at the building where men who didn't know him had decided his life was worth destroying. His phone buzzed. A text from Kara. Please don't do anything stupid. He threw the phone onto the passenger seat and picked up the gun. Inside the clubhouse, Rex stood at the window staring out at the rain. Something felt wrong. He couldn't name it, couldn't pin it down. Just a sensation crawling up his spine, the same instinct that kept him alive in Helmand when mortars started falling. Ghost appeared beside him. wiping grease off his hands with a red shop rag. You good? Ghost asked. No. Wade? Maybe. Ghost looked out the window. Nothing but darkness and rain and the glow of neon beer signs reflected in puddles. You think he's dumb enough to come here? I think he's drunk enough, Rex said. Want me to wake the others? Rex shook his head. Not yet. Might be nothing. But his hand moved to the knife clipped inside his belt. Ghost noticed. When's the last time your gut was wrong? Ghost asked. Afghanistan. 2011. Told myself a road was clear. It wasn't. Lost 3 guys. So we trust it now. Yeah. Ghost pulled a Glock from the small of his back and chambered a round. The sound was soft, metallic, final. I'll check the perimeter, Ghost said. Take Mason. Ghost nodded and disappeared into the back room. Rex stayed at the window, eyes scanning the darkness. Rain blurred everything. Shadows moved wrong. Every gust of wind looked like a person. Then he saw it. A truck. Parked on the shoulder 100 yards out. No lights. Engine off. Rex's jaw tightened. Ghost! He called out. Ghost emerged from the back room with Mason right behind him. Both armed now. What is it? Mason asked. Rex pointed. Truck. Outside. Wasn't there 5 minutes ago. Mason moved to the window and squinted into the darkness. Could be anyone. Could be Wade. You want to go check? Rex didn't answer immediately. He was calculating. If it was Wade and they went out there, they'd be exposed. If it wasn't Wade and they did nothing, they'd look paranoid. But if it was Wade and they did nothing... The front window shattered. Glass exploded inward in a spray of jagged fragments. A gunshot cracked through the night, loud enough to wake the dead. The bullet punched through the drywall 6 inches from Rex's head. Down! Rex roared. Everyone hit the floor. More gunshots followed. 3, 4, 5. Each one punching holes through the walls and windows. Bikers scrambled for cover. Someone killed the lights. The clubhouse plunged into darkness except for the flickering neon beer signs behind the bar. Rex crawled toward the broken window, glass crunching under his elbows. He stayed low, moving fast. Another shot rang out. The bullet hit the jukebox, sparking. How many shooters? Mason shouted from behind the pool table. 1, Rex called back. Single rifle, maybe 100 yards out. Wade? Has to be. Where's the kid? Rex's blood went cold. Back room, get him, now! Mason scrambled across the floor toward the hallway while Ghost returned fire through the shattered window. 3 quick shots. Controlled. Professional. The sound was deafening inside the confined space. I can't see him, Ghost shouted. He's using the truck for cover. Want me to punch through it? Not yet. He runs out of ammo. He's done. Another shot. This one hit the ceiling, raining down dust and insulation. Mason reappeared, dragging Eli by the arm. The kid was wide-eyed, shaking, barely awake. What's happening? Eli gasped. Stay down, Rex ordered. Don't move. Don't make a sound. Eli nodded, too terrified to argue. The shooting stopped. Silence crashed over the room like a wave. Everyone froze, breathing hard, listening. Rain pounded the roof. Wind howled through the broken windows. He's reloading, Ghost whispered. Or running, Mason said. Rex shook his head. He's not running. He came here to make a statement. Then let's make one back. Rex looked at Eli huddled against the wall, arms wrapped around his knees, face pale. Not with the kid here, Rex said quietly. So what do we do? Before Rex could answer, headlights flared to life outside. The truck's engine roared, tires screeched against wet asphalt. Wade was leaving, but not before firing one last shot, this one through the open doorway. The bullet hit the bar, shattering a row of whiskey bottles. Alcohol and glass exploded across the floor. Then the truck was gone, taillights disappearing into the rain. Rex stood slowly, glass falling from his jacket. His hands were steady, but his eyes burned with something cold and controlled. Everyone okay? He called out. Voices answered from around the room. No one hit. Minor cuts from flying glass, ringing ears, but alive. Eli stayed on the floor, shaking. Rex walked over and crouched beside him. You hurt? Eli shook his head, but his eyes were unfocused, distant, shock settling in. Hey, Rex said firmly. Look at me. Eli's gaze snapped to his face. You're safe, Rex said. He's gone. He came here, Eli whispered. He came here because of me. No, he came here because he's a coward. People could have died, but they didn't. What if he comes back? Rex's expression hardened. He won't get the chance. Ghost appeared behind them, phone pressed to his ear. Cops are on the way, he said. Anonymous call from a neighbor. ETA 3 minutes. Rex swore under his breath. We need a story, Mason said, and we need it now. Rex stood up, mind racing. Bullet holes in the walls, shattered windows, spent brass on the floor, and a terrified 14-year-old kid who wasn't supposed to be here. We don't know who the shooter was, Rex said quickly. Drive by. Random. We were closing up for the night when shots came through the windows. Nobody saw the vehicle. Nobody fired back. They're going to find our shell casings, Ghost said, so we were defending ourselves. Arizona's a stand-your-ground state. We had every right. And the kid? Rex looked at Eli. Friend's son. Staying the night because his mom's working late. They're going to ask questions. Let them. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder. Everyone ditch your weapons, Rex ordered. Under the bar. Now. Nothing on your person when they walk in. Guns disappeared quickly, tucked into hiding spots behind liquor bottles, beneath loose floorboards, inside motorcycle saddlebags outside. By the time the first patrol car screeched into the parking lot, the bikers looked like victims, not combatants. 2 officers entered with flashlights and drawn weapons, scanning the room. Hands where I can see them. Rex raised his hands slowly. It's over, he said calmly. Shooter's gone. Anyone hurt? No. Who's in charge here? I am. Rex Mercer. The officer, mid-30s, buzz cut, nameplate reading, Davidson, lowered his weapon slightly. What happened? Drive-by. We were locking up when someone opened fire through the windows, maybe 10 shots. Didn't see the vehicle. You fire back? Only to cover people getting to safety. Davidson looked around the room, taking in the damage. Bullet holes, shattered glass, frightened faces. Anyone know why someone would target this place? Silence. No idea, Rex said. Davidson didn't look convinced, but he nodded slowly. All right. Nobody leaves until we get statements from everyone. EMTs are on the way. Sit tight. The next 2 hours crawled by like years. Statements taken. Evidence photographed. Paramedics checking for injuries. Eli sat in the corner, wrapped in a blanket someone found, answering questions in a monotone voice. Yes, he was visiting. No, he didn't see anything. No, he didn't know why anyone would do this. The officers left eventually, promising to follow up. Crime scene tape fluttered outside the broken windows. Evidence markers sat beside shell casings. And Rex stood in the middle of the destroyed clubhouse, staring at the damage, his mind already 3 steps ahead. We need to move the kid, Ghost said quietly. Where? Somewhere Wade doesn't know about. Safe house, maybe. Friend's place. Rex shook his head. He'll find him. Wade's got nothing to lose now. He's going to burn everything down until we give him what he wants. Which is? Revenge. Mom Mason lit a cigarette and exhaled smoke toward the ceiling. So we go after him first, Mason said. No. Why not? Because that's exactly what he wants. He's baiting us, trying to get us to do something stupid so he can play victim. We let him shoot up our clubhouse and do nothing? Rex's jaw tightened. I didn't say we do nothing. I said we don't give him what he wants. Then what do we give him? Rex looked at Eli sitting in the corner, exhausted, traumatized, barely holding himself together. Time? Rex said. We give him time to make a mistake. And if he doesn't, he will. Guys like Wade always do. But even as he said it, Rex didn't believe it, because he'd seen men like Wade before. Men who destroyed everything they touched and didn't care about the consequences. Men who'd rather burn the world down than admit they'd lost. And those men didn't make mistakes. They made casualties. The sun rose over Black Ridge at 6:47 a.m., painting the desert in shades of orange and gold. The rain had stopped sometime during the night, leaving the roads slick and the air cold. Rex stood outside the clubhouse smoking a cigarette, staring at the bullet holes in the wall. He hadn't slept. Behind him, Ghost worked on boarding up the shattered windows with plywood and nails. The sound of hammering echoed across the empty parking lot. Mason appeared beside Rex, coffee in hand. "Kid's still asleep," Mason said. "Good." "He asked about his mom yet?" "Not since last night." "You gonna tell him she called?" Rex took a long drag from his cigarette. "Yeah." "When?" "When I figure out what to say." Mason sipped his coffee. "She wants him home," Mason said. "Says she can protect him." "She can't." "I know that, you know that, but she's his mom. She's got rights." "Rights don't matter if he's dead." Mason didn't argue. "What's the play?" Mason asked. Rex flicked ash onto the ground. "We move him," Rex said. "Somewhere Wade can't find, somewhere safe." "How long?" "Until this is over." Define over. Rex met his eyes. "Wade's dead or in prison? No middle ground? And if Kara doesn't agree, then we do it anyway." Mason exhaled slowly. "You know what happens if we cross that line, right? Kidnapping. Even with good intentions, we'll lose everything." "I've lost everything before," Rex said. "I'll do it again if it keeps that kid alive." "Even if it destroys us?" Rex crushed his cigarette under his boot. "Especially then." Inside, Eli woke to the smell of coffee and the sound of hammering. His body ached. His head pounded. For a moment, he didn't remember where he was. Then it all came rushing back. The gunshots. The shattered glass. Wade's truck disappearing into the rain. Eli sat up slowly, the blanket falling away. Someone had left clean clothes folded on a chair, jeans, a t-shirt, a flannel jacket that smelled like motor oil and leather. He changed quickly, his hands still shaking. When he stepped into the main room, the clubhouse looked like a war zone. Bullet holes everywhere. Broken furniture. Blood on the floor. Not much, but enough. Ghost looked up from his work and nodded. "Morning." "Hey. You sleep okay?" "No." "Yeah, me neither." Eli walked to the bar and poured himself a cup of coffee from the pot someone had left warming. It tasted burnt and bitter, but it was hot, and that was enough. "Where's Rex?" Eli asked. "Outside." "Is Wade gone?" "For now." "He's coming back, isn't he?" Ghost set down his hammer and looked at the kid. "Probably." "When?" "Don't know." Eli stared into his coffee cup. "This is my fault," he said quietly. "No, it's not. I came here. I brought this to you. Now everyone's in danger because—" "Stop." Eli looked up. Ghost walked over and leaned against the bar, arms crossed. "You didn't pull that trigger last night," Ghost said. "Wade did, and he did it because he's a piece of shit who can't handle losing control. That's on him, not you. But if you hadn't come here, your mom would be dead by now. Maybe you too. You did the right thing. Don't let anyone tell you different." Eli's throat tightened. "I don't feel like I did the right thing." "Good. That means you're human. What if someone had died?" "They didn't. But what if—" "Listen to me." Ghost's voice was firm but not unkind. "You can spend your whole life living in what-ifs, or you can focus on what actually happened. We're alive. You're alive. Your mom's alive. That's what matters." Eli wanted to believe him, but the guilt sat in his chest like a stone. The door opened and Rex stepped inside, followed by Mason. Both men looked exhausted, hollowed out by a sleepless night and too much adrenaline. Rex saw Eli standing by the bar and walked over. "You okay?" Rex asked. "I don't know." Rex nodded like he understood. "Your mom called this morning," Rex said. "She wants you home." Eli stiffened. "I can't go back there." "I know. Wade knows where we live. I said I know. Eat it." Rex pulled out a chair and sat down heavily. He gestured for Eli to do the same. The kid hesitated, then obeyed. "We're going to move you," Rex said. "Somewhere safe. Somewhere Wade can't find you." "But where, Yum?" "Can't tell you yet." "Why not?" "Because if you don't know, you can't tell anyone, not even your mom." Eli's eyes widened. You're not telling her? Not until you're already there. She's going to freak out. Probably. She's going to call the cops. Maybe. Then why? Because keeping you alive matters more than keeping her happy. The words landed hard. Eli stared at Rex, processing. You're kidnapping me, Eli said slowly. No, I'm protecting you. That's not how the law sees it. I don't care how the law sees it. Eli's hands clenched into fists on the table. What if I say no? Rex's expression didn't change. Then I do it anyway. You can't just... I can. And I will. Silence stretched between them. Why? Eli asked finally. Because 13 years ago, I told your mom she was going to live. And that promise doesn't mean shit if her kid dies because I wasn't willing to cross a line. Eli looked away, jaw tight. When do I leave? Tonight. And my mom? We'll handle it. How? Rex stood up. However we have to. Later that afternoon, Rex rode his Harley into town alone. The streets were quiet. Wednesday, mid-November. Most people at work or school. The kind of day where Black Ridge felt more like a ghost town than a real place. He pulled up outside Kara's trailer and killed the engine. The front door opened before he could knock. Kara stood in the doorway wearing the same sweatshirt from last night, dark circles under her eyes, coffee mug shaking in her hand. Where's Eli? She asked. Safe. Oh, I want to see him. Not yet. Her expression hardened. He's my son, Rex. You can't just... Wade shot up our clubhouse last night, Rex said flatly. 10 rounds through the windows. Eli was inside. Kara went pale. Is he... He's fine. But Wade's not stopping, and if Eli comes back here, Wade will find him. You know that. Kara's hand trembled harder. Coffee sloshed over the rim of her mug. So what are you saying? Yes, sorry, Oshama. I'm saying we move him, somewhere Wade can't reach, until this is over. For how long? As long as it takes. And what am I supposed to do? Stay here, go to work, act normal. Act normal? Her voice cracked. My son is missing, and you want me to act normal? He's not missing. He's protected. That's not the same thing. Rex stepped closer. You want him alive or you want him home? He asked quietly. Kara stared at him. That's not fair. It's the only question that matters. Tears filled her eyes. I can't lose him, Rex. He's all I have left. I know. Then why are you doing this? Because if I don't, you'll lose him anyway. She looked at him for a long moment, searching his face for something, reassurance maybe, or proof that he wasn't lying. How do I know you're not making this worse? She asked. You don't. That's not good enough. It's all I've got. Kara wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. If anything happens to him, it won't. You can't promise that. No, Rex said. But I can try. She stared at him. Then, slowly, she nodded. Okay. Okay? I trust you. God help me. I trust you. Rex exhaled slowly. Thank you. Don't thank me. Just bring him back alive. That night, as darkness settled over the desert, Rex loaded Eli into the back of Ghost's van along with a duffel bag of clothes, toiletries, and $40 in cash. The kid didn't argue. Didn't ask questions. Just climbed inside and sat down on the bench seat, arms wrapped around himself. Mason rode escort on his bike. Ghost drove. Rex followed on his Harley. They drove for 2 hours into the mountains, taking back roads and fire trails until they reached a small cabin buried deep in the pines. Off-grid, no cell service, no neighbors for 10 miles. It belonged to a former Army Ranger named Cole Briggs, who owed Rex a favor from a long time ago. Cole was 63, gray-haired, and looked like he could still kill someone with his bare hands if necessary. He met them on the porch, holding a shotgun. This the kid? Cole asked. Yeah, Rex said. Cole looked Eli up and down. Scrawny. He's 14. I was killing deer at 14. Times change. Cole grunted. How long's he staying? Week. Maybe 2. You paying? Yeah. How much? Whatever you want. Cole nodded slowly. All right. but he pulls his weight. No freeloaders. Deal. Cole looked at Eli. You got a problem with manual labor, kid? Eli shook his head. Good. You're splitting firewood tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Okay. Cole turned and walked back inside. Rex handed Eli the duffel bag. You're going to be okay here, Rex said. How do you know? Because Cole's meaner than Wade and twice as dangerous. That's supposed to make me feel better? A little. Eli looked at the cabin, then at the dark trees surrounding it. What if Wade finds me? He won't. But if he does... Rex met his eyes. Then Cole will handle it. Eli swallowed hard. What about my mom? We'll check on her every day, yeah. Promise? Yeah. Eli nodded, then turned toward the cabin. Hey, kid, Rex called out. Eli stopped and looked back. You're doing good, Rex said. Better than most adults would. Eli didn't respond. He just walked inside and closed the door. Rex stood there for a moment, staring at the cabin, feeling the weight of every decision he'd made in the last 48 hours pressing down on his shoulders. Ghost appeared beside him. Think he'll be all right? Ghost asked. I don't know. Think we're doing the right thing? I don't know that either. They rode back to Black Ridge in silence, the cold mountain air cutting through their jackets. By the time they reached the clubhouse, it was after midnight. Inside, Mason sat at the bar drinking whiskey straight from the bottle. Cops came by again, Mason said. What'd they want? Asked more questions about last night, wanted to know if we'd heard from Wade. What'd you tell them? Jose. Same thing we told them before. Nothing. Rex poured himself a drink. They buy it? No. But they can't prove otherwise. Yet. Mason took another swig. This is getting messy, Rex. I know. We're running out of moves. I know that too. So what's the plan? Rex drained his glass. We wait. For what? For Wade to make a mistake. And if he doesn't? Rex set the glass down hard. Then we force him to. But forcing someone like Wade meant crossing lines that couldn't be uncrossed. It meant becoming the thing they'd all sworn they'd never be again. It meant war. And in the cold silence of that ruined clubhouse, surrounded by bullet holes and broken glass and the ghosts of better men they used to be, every biker in that room understood exactly what was coming. The question wasn't whether they'd survive it. The question was whether they'd recognize themselves when it was over. Outside, thunder rumbled across the desert. And somewhere in the darkness, Wade Carver sat in his truck loading a fresh magazine into his rifle, staring at a photograph of Kara and Eli taped to his dashboard. He smiled and pulled out a hunting knife. Because if he couldn't have them, no one would. The hunting knife gleamed under the dome light of Wade's truck. He turned it slowly, watching his reflection distort across the blade. Fractured, wrong, monstrous. Rain began again just after 3 a.m., light at first, then building into a steady drumming that matched the rhythm of his thoughts. Kill them. Burn them. Make them understand what it feels like to lose everything. He'd been parked outside Kara's trailer for 2 hours. Watching, waiting. The lights inside had gone out around 1. She was alone now. Eli was gone. Hidden somewhere by those biker bastards who thought they could rewrite the rules of his life. Wade tucked the knife into his belt and picked up his phone. He scrolled through his contacts until he found a name he hadn't called in 6 years. Marcus Holt. The phone rang 4 times before a rough voice answered. Yeah? It's Wade. Silence. Carver? That you? Yeah. Thought you were dead. Not yet. What do you want? Wade stared at the trailer through the rain-streaked windshield. Remember that favor you owed me? Fallujah, 2007. The thing with the captain. Another pause. I remember. I'm calling it in. After 6 years? Yeah. Marcus exhaled slowly. This gonna get me killed? Probably not. That's not a no. It's the best I can do. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Then, where and when? Wade smiled. Black Ridge, Arizona. Tomorrow night. I'll text you the address. What's the job? Sending a message. To who? Motorcycle club, Iron Revenants. Bunch of wannabe outlaws playing hero. How many? 30, maybe more. Marcus whistled low. You're asking me to go to war. I'm asking you to help me burn down one building. That's still war, Wade. You in or out? Another pause, longer this time. I'll bring 3 guys, but this wipes the debt clean. After this, we're done. Deal. Wade ended the call and stared at the hunting knife again. By tomorrow night, the Iron Revenants would be ash, and Kara would understand that leaving him was never an option. Inside the clubhouse, Rex sat alone at the bar, nursing whiskey that tasted like regret. The plywood over the windows blocked out the rain but trapped the silence inside, making every breath feel too loud. His phone sat on the bar beside his glass. No calls, no texts, nothing from Cole, nothing from Eli. That was good. Silence meant safety, but silence also meant distance. And distance gave his mind room to wander into places he'd spent 20 years trying to avoid. He thought about Afghanistan, about the convoy, about pulling Kara from that burning Humvee while bullets tore through the air around them. He'd carried her 2 miles through enemy territory with her blood soaking into his uniform, and the whole time she kept whispering the same thing over and over. Don't leave my boy alone. He'd promised her then, and he was keeping that promise now, even if it destroyed him. The door opened. Ghost stepped inside, rain dripping from his leather jacket. Thought you were sleeping, Rex said. Can't. Iraq? Always Iraq. Ghost grabbed a bottle from behind the bar and poured himself 3 fingers of bourbon. He drank half of it in one swallow. You ever think about what we're doing here? Ghost asked. Every day. And I don't have a better answer than I did yesterday. Ghost set his glass down. We're crossing lines, Rex. Big ones. Kidnapping. Vigilante justice. We're one bad decision away from being the villains. I know. Then why keep going? Rex looked at him. Because stopping means that kid dies. And I can't live with that. Even if it means we go to prison, even then. Ghost stared into his glass. You ever wonder if we're just broken people trying to fix something that can't be fixed? Every single day. Then why? The sound of motorcycles cut through the night, multiple engines, coming fast. Rex was on his feet before Ghost could finish the sentence. Both men moved to the window, peering through gaps in the plywood. 4 bikes roared into the parking lot. Not Iron Revenants. Different cuts. Different patches. Desert King's MC. Rex's blood went cold. What the hell are they doing here? Ghost whispered. I don't know. The riders dismounted. 4 men, all heavily armed. The leader was a massive figure, 6'5", easily 260 pounds of muscle and scar tissue. His cut was covered in patches that told stories of violence spanning 3 states. His name was Hector Ruiz, president of the Desert Kings. And he'd been at war with the Iron Revenants for the better part of a decade over territory, drug routes, and a dozen other grudges that had calcified into permanent hatred. Rex opened the door slowly. Hector stopped 10 feet away, rain hammering his shoulders. Mercer, Hector said. His voice sounded like grinding gravel. Ruiz, what do you want? To talk. At 3 in the morning? When you ride, you ride. Rex didn't move from the doorway. Talk about what? Hector glanced at the bullet holes in the clubhouse wall. Heard you had some trouble. News travels fast. Small town, smaller community. Hector's eyes narrowed. You know who did it? Maybe. You gonna handle it? Already am. Hector nodded slowly. Good. Because whatever beef you got with some civilian, keep it civilian. Don't let it spill into club business. It won't. You sure about that? Rex's jaw tightened. Why do you care? Hector stepped closer. Rain poured between them. Because when cops start sniffing around one club, they start sniffing around all of us. And I don't need your war bringing heat to my doorstep. Then stay out of it. Can't. Not anymore. Why not? Hector pulled out his phone and held up a photo. It showed Wade Carver sitting at a bar talking to a man Rex recognized immediately. Marcus Holt, former Marine. Dishonorable discharge. Last Rex heard, Marcus was running guns through the Southwest for whoever paid best. Who sent you this? Rex asked. Contact in Tucson says Marcus is assembling a crew. Says your boy Wade paid him to burn your clubhouse to the ground, with everyone inside. Oh, Rex's hands clenched into fists. When? Tomorrow night. How many? 4 guys, maybe 5, all experienced, all armed. Ghost swore under his breath behind Rex. Why are you telling me this, Rekka? Rex asked. Hector tucked his phone away. Because I hate you, Mercer. But I hate outside contractors more. Marcus and his crew start playing mercenary in our territory. That's a problem for everyone. So consider this a courtesy. One club to another. And what do you want in return? Hector smiled. A cold, ugly thing. You owe me a favor, and someday I'm going to collect. He turned and walked back to his bike. Hector? Rex called out. The big man stopped and looked back. Why now? We've been at war for years. Why help us? Because war has rules, Hector said, and burning clubhouses with civilians inside breaks all of them. He climbed on his bike. The engines roared to life, and 30 seconds later, the Desert Kings disappeared into the rain. Ghost stepped up beside Rex. You believe him? Ghost asked. Yeah. Then we've got less than 24 hours. Rex pulled out his phone and started texting. Wake everyone up. Get them here. Now. All of them? Every single one. By 4 a.m., the clubhouse was packed. 30 bikers crammed into the space, exhausted, angry, confused. Rex stood at the front near the bar while Ghost and Mason flanked him. Wade's coming tomorrow night, Rex said without preamble. He's hired a crew, former military. They're going to burn this place down with all of us inside. Silence. Then someone near the back spoke up. How do you know? Desert Kings told me. Murmurs rippled through the room. And you believe them? Another voice asked. Yeah. Why would they help us? Because they hate outside contractors more than they hate us. That's thin. It's all we've got. A biker named Torres stepped forward. He was 31, built like a fire hydrant, with burn scars covering half his face from an IED in Kandahar. So what's the play? Torres asked. We evacuate, Rex said. Clear out. Find somewhere else to be tomorrow night. Let Wade and his crew burn an empty building. And then what? Then we come back and rebuild. That's running, someone said from the back. Rex's eyes found the speaker, a younger biker named Carter, who'd only been patched in 6 months ago. Yeah, Rex said. It is. We're supposed to be Iron Revenants, Carter said. Not cowards. Being smart isn't being a coward. Feels like it. Rex walked toward him slowly. The crowd parted. You ever been shot at before? Rex asked quietly. Carter hesitated. No. Ever watched someone burn to death? No. Then trust me when I say survival isn't cowardice, it's strategy. Carter looked away. Rex turned back to the group. Anyone who wants to stay and fight, I won't stop you. But I'm not losing brothers over pride. Torres raised his hand. Where's the kid? Eli. Safe. Mountains, off-grid. And his mom? Still in town. Wade know where she is? Rex's jaw tightened. Yeah. Then she's not safe. I know. We gonna move her too. She won't go. Then she's gonna die. The words hung in the air like smoke. Rex pulled out his phone and called Kara. It rang 5 times before she answered, voice thick with sleep. Rex, what time is it? Late, listen to me. You need to leave town, tonight. What? Why? Wade's coming, and he's not coming alone. A pause. I'm not running. Kara said, I said I'm not running. This is my home. He doesn't get to take that from me. He's going to kill you. Then I'll die here. You've got a son, and he's safe because of you. That's enough. It's not, Rex. Her voice was firm now. I've been running my whole life, from my father, from bad relationships, from my own mistakes. I'm done. Whatever happens, happens. Kara, please. The line went dead. Rex stood there holding the phone, rage and helplessness warring inside his chest. Ghost put a hand on his shoulder. We'll protect her, Ghost said. How? We can't be in two places at once. Then we pick one. The clubhouse. Or Kara. Rex looked at the room full of bikers, men who'd trusted him, followed him, bled with him. We evacuate the clubhouse, Rex said finally, and we fortify Kara's trailer. That's not a fortification, Mason said. That's a coffin. Then we make it something else. With what? Plywood and prayers? Rex's eyes hardened. Rex's eyes. With 30 armed bikers who've survived worse. Mason shook his head but didn't argue. All right, Torres said. When do we move? What? Now. Pack everything you can't afford to lose. We've got 18 hours. The bikers scattered, moving with the controlled urgency of soldiers who'd done this before. Within 20 minutes, the clubhouse was being stripped. Weapons, records, cash, anything valuable loaded into trucks and vans. Rex stood in the middle of the chaos making calls. Cole first. Yeah? Cole's voice was rough with sleep. It's Rex. Is Eli okay? Kid's fine. Snores like a chainsaw, but he's breathing. Keep him there. Don't let him leave for any reason. What's going on? War. Need backup? No, just keep the kid safe. You got it. Rex ended the call and immediately dialed another number. This one rang 3 times before a woman answered. Apex Security. How can I... This is Rex Mercer. Client code Delta 779er. I need immediate consultation. One moment. The line clicked. Then a male voice, professional, clipped. Mr. Mercer. It's been a while. Ita. Yeah, listen, I need a defensive consultation. Trailer home. Single wide. Soft target. How do I harden it in 12 hours with limited resources? What's the threat profile? 4 to 5 armed hostiles, military training, probable incendiary devices. A pause. You can't. Not in 12 hours. Not with a trailer. Evacuate. Not an option. Then you're going to lose people. Give me something. The man on the other end sighed. Sandbags around the perimeter, steel plates on the windows, kill the exterior lights, set up overlapping fields of fire, and pray they're dumber than you think. That's it? That's reality. Trailers aren't defensible. They're kindling. Rex closed his eyes. Thanks. Mr. Mercer, whatever you're doing, don't. Rex ended the call. By noon, the clubhouse was empty. Everything of value gone. Only bullet holes and memories remained. Rex stood in the middle of the space one last time, breathing in the smell of motor oil and leather and decades of brotherhood. Then he walked out and locked the door behind him. The convoy of motorcycles and trucks rolled through Black Ridge at 1 p.m., drawing stares from townspeople who'd never seen the Iron Revenants move in formation before. They pulled up outside Kara's trailer in a cloud of dust and engine smoke. Kara stepped onto the porch, arms crossed, eyes wide. What is this? She asked. Rex dismounted and walked toward her. Protection. From what? Wade's hired people. They're coming tonight. And they're not interested in arrests. No, Kara's face went pale. How many? At least 4? And you brought 30? Yeah. Rex, this is insane. So, I know. People are going to die, maybe. Definitely. Then we die protecting something that matters. Kara stared at him, tears forming in her eyes. I didn't ask for this, she whispered. I know. I just wanted my son to be safe. He is. Now let us keep you that way too. She looked at the bikers unloading sandbags, steel plates, weapons, fortifying her trailer like it was a military outpost. This is my fault, she said. No, it's Wade's. Don't take his guilt. She wiped her eyes. What do you need me to do? Stay inside. Keep your head down. Let us handle the rest. And if you lose? Rex met her eyes. We won't. You don't know that. No. But I'm not good at losing people I promised to protect. The hours crawled by like years. Bikers worked in shifts, some fortifying, some sleeping, some watching the road. Rex moved between stations, checking angles, reviewing plans, making sure everyone understood their role. By 6 p.m., the trailer looked like a fortress. Sandbags stacked 3 feet high around the perimeter. Steel plates bolted over windows. Spotlights positioned on the roof. Rifles distributed to anyone who'd served in combat. Kara stayed inside, sitting at her kitchen table with a cup of coffee gone cold in her hands. She stared at the photos on her refrigerator. Eli as a baby, Eli on his first day of school, Eli smiling beside his father in his army uniform. She'd survived a war overseas. Now she was about to survive one at home. The sun set at 7:14 p.m., painting the desert in shades of orange and red before darkness swallowed everything whole. Temperature dropped 20 degrees in an hour. Wind picked up, carrying the smell of creosote and rain. Rex stood outside the trailer smoking a cigarette, his eyes scanning the horizon. Ghost appeared beside him. "You think they're really coming?" Ghost asked. "Yeah." "What if Hector was lying? What if this is a setup?" "Then we deal with that too." "You ever get tired of this?" Rex took a long drag. "Every day." "Then why keep doing it?" "Because stopping means forgetting who we are, and I'm not ready to do that yet." Ghost nodded slowly. "You think we're going to make it through tonight?" Rex didn't answer. At 9:47 p.m., headlights appeared on the horizon. 4 vehicles, moving fast. "Here we go," Mason said from his position behind the sandbags. Bikers scrambled into position. Safeties clicked off. Hearts pounded. The vehicles stopped half a mile out. Headlights killed. Engines silenced. Then nothing. Minutes stretched into eternity. "What are they doing?" Torres whispered. "Watching," Rex said, "deciding if we're worth the fight. And if we're not, they leave. And if we are," Rex chambered around, "then we find out who's tougher." At 10:03 p.m., the vehicles started moving again. Slowly this time, spreading out, flanking. Rex's radio crackled. "Movement on the east side," a voice reported. 2 hostiles, on foot, carrying something. "Incendiaries," Rex said. "Ghost, Mason, east flank, now." They moved. The vehicles stopped again. Doors opened, shadows emerged. Then the first gunshot rang out, not from the trailer, from the darkness beyond. Someone screamed. Return fire erupted from the bikers' positions. Controlled bursts, disciplined, military trained. The battle had begun. But 15 minutes in, something felt wrong. The attackers weren't advancing. They were circling, probing, testing defenses without committing, like they were looking for something specific. Rex grabbed his radio. "Anyone got eyes on Wade?" Silence. "Say again. Anyone see Wade Carver?" More silence. Then Mason's voice crackled through. "Rex, you need to see this." "See what?" "Just get to the north side. Now." Rex sprinted around the trailer, boots pounding dirt. He found Mason crouched behind sandbags, staring at something in the darkness through night vision binoculars. "What is it?" Rex demanded. Mason handed him the binoculars. Rex looked. Half a mile away, illuminated by the dashboard light of a truck, sat Wade Carver. But he wasn't alone. Beside him, hands zip-tied behind her back, blood streaming from her nose, sat a woman. Rex's world stopped. It was Sarah Mercer, his sister. The sister he hadn't seen in 8 years. The sister who'd disappeared after their father died. The sister he'd assumed was dead or gone forever, and Wade had her. Rex lowered the binoculars, his hands shaking. "How?" he whispered. Mason's voice was tight. "I don't know, but that changes everything." Rex's radio crackled. Wade's voice came through, calm and cold. "You listening, Mercer?" Rex grabbed the radio. "I'm listening, Mon." "Good. Here's how this works. You give me Kara and Eli, right now, or I put a bullet in your sister's head and leave her body on the highway for the coyotes." Rex's breath stopped. "You don't know what you're doing," Rex said. "I know exactly what I'm doing. You took something from me. Now I'm taking something from you. Fair trade." "Fair?" "She's got nothing to do with this. Neither did Eli. But here we are." Rex's mind raced. 8 years. Sarah had been gone 8 years. How did Wade even find her? How did he know she existed? Unless... Rex's blood went cold. He grabbed Mason's arm. "Where's Kara?" Rex demanded. "Inside. Where you told her to stay." Rex sprinted toward the trailer door. He burst inside without knocking. Kara stood at the kitchen window, phone in her hand, tears streaming down her face. She turned toward him slowly, and Rex saw the truth in her eyes. "You told him," Rex said quietly. Kara's face crumpled. "I had to." "You told Wade about Sarah. He was going to kill Eli. So you traded my sister instead?" I didn't know what else to do." Rex stared at her, rage and betrayal warring inside his chest. "How long?" he asked. "What? How long have you been talking to Wade?" Kara looked away. "Since the beginning." The words hit like a gunshot. "You've been feeding him information this whole time," Rex said. "He threatened to kill Eli if I didn't, so you let him shoot up my clubhouse. You let him come after my people. You let him... I was protecting my son by sacrificing everyone else," Kara sobbed, collapsing against the counter. Rex turned and walked out before he did something he couldn't take back. Outside, Ghost grabbed his arm. "What's the play?" Ghost asked. Rex stared at the truck in the distance where Wade held Sarah hostage. Then he looked at the trailer where Kara cried inside. Then at the bikers surrounding him, brothers who'd followed him into hell without question. And he understood, finally, what this night would cost. Everything. "We're done playing defense," Rex said quietly. "Meaning?" "Meaning we go get her." "That's suicide." "Probably." "Rex, I'm not losing her again." Ghost stared at him. "Then we do this together." Rex looked at the men around him, wounded, exhausted, loyal. "No," Rex said. "This one's mine." He grabbed his rifle, checked the magazine, and started walking toward Wade's truck. Alone. Into the darkness, where the only certainty was that someone wasn't walking back out. Rex walked into the darkness alone. No backup. No plan. Just a rifle slung across his back and 47 years of rage compressed into a single forward motion. His boots crunched against gravel. Wind cut through his leather jacket. Every step carried the weight of decisions that couldn't be undone. Behind him, Ghost shouted something. Rex didn't turn around. The distance between the trailer and Wade's truck was roughly 800 yards of open desert. No cover, no concealment, just empty space where a man could die before he heard the shot that killed him. Rex kept walking. His radio crackled. "Rex, stop! This is suicide!" Ghost's voice, tight with fear. Rex pulled the radio from his belt and dropped it on the ground without responding. 400 yards out now. Wade's truck sat like a monument to everything Rex had tried to prevent. The dashboard light illuminated two figures, Wade in the driver's seat. Sarah slumped against the passenger door, zip ties cutting into her wrists. She looked thin, broken, like someone who'd survived something worse than death. 300 yards. Rex could see Wade now. Really see him. The man sat motionless, watching through the windshield, one hand resting on the steering wheel, the other holding something Rex couldn't make out. 200 yards. Wade opened the driver's door and stepped out slowly. He wore the same stained flannel and torn jeans from before, but now he carried a pistol in his right hand. His jaw was wired shut from Rex's beating. When he spoke, the words came out slurred and thick with pain. "That's close enough." "What? Oh, that's..." Rex stopped. 150 yards separated them now, close enough to talk, far enough to miss with a handgun if the shot was rushed. "Let her go," Rex said. His voice carried across the desert like a blade. Wade laughed, a wet, broken sound. "You think you get to make demands? After what you did to me? I gave you a chance to walk away, and I'm giving you one now. Turn around. Go back to your little fortress. Leave me alone. And maybe, I don't paint the desert with your sister's brains." Rex's hands clenched into fists. "She's got nothing to do with this. Neither did Eli. But you didn't care about that. Eli's a kid. And Sarah's what? Collateral damage?" Wade pressed the pistol against the passenger window. Inside the truck, Sarah flinched, her eyes squeezed shut. Rex's breath stopped. "What do you want?" Rex asked quietly. "I already told you, Kara and Eli, right here, right now. Can't do that. Then your sister dies. You kill her, you lose your only leverage." Wade's smile widened, a grotesque thing made worse by the metal wiring holding his broken jaw together. "You think I care about leverage? I came here to burn everything you love to the ground. She's just the first match. Rex's mind raced. He was outgunned, outmaneuvered, and completely out of options that didn't end with someone dead. Behind Wade's truck, movement, shadows shifting in the darkness. Marcus Holt and his crew. 4 men spread out in a loose perimeter, rifles trained on Rex. Wade noticed Rex's gaze shift. "Yeah," Wade said. "I brought friends. Real professionals. Not your wannabe soldier bullshit. Those men work for money," Rex said. "Not loyalty. Money's more reliable. Oh, until it runs out." Wade shrugged. "Then I'll find more." Rex took 1 step forward. "Stop," Wade barked. The pistol pressed harder against the window. Rex stopped. "Here's what's going to happen." "What?" Wade said. "You're going to go back to that trailer. You're going to put Kara and Eli in a vehicle, and you're going to drive them out here, alone. No tricks, no backup. You do that, I let Sarah live. You don't—" He cocked the pistol. Rex's jaw tightened so hard his teeth ached. "How do I know you won't kill her anyway?" "You don't." "Then why should I trust you?" Wade's eyes glittered in the darkness. "Because you don't have a choice." Silence stretched between them like barbed wire. Then Rex spoke, his voice low and cold. "You're right. I don't have a choice." He unslung his rifle and dropped it on the ground. Wade's smile faltered. "What are you doing?" "Giving you what you want." Rex raised his hands above his head and started walking forward. "Stay back, Wade shouted. Rex kept walking. "I said stay back." "You want Kara and Eli? Fine, but you let Sarah go first." "That's not how this works." "That's exactly how this works. You get what you want. I get what I want. Everyone walks away." "Nobody walks away from this," Wade said, but his voice cracked. Rex was 50 yards out now, close enough to see the sweat on Wade's face, close enough to smell the alcohol on his breath. "Let her go," Rex said again. Wade's hand trembled on the pistol. "You think I'm stupid? The second I let her go, your biker buddies put a bullet in my head. They're not shooting anyone. I gave them orders." "I don't believe you." "Then test me." Wade stared at him. Behind him, Marcus Holt shifted nervously, his rifle tracking Rex's movements. "This is a bad idea," Marcus called out. "Wade, we should—" "Shut up," Wade snapped. "I'm serious, man. This is going sideways. I said shut up." Rex took another step forward. "Wade, look at me." Wade's eyes snapped back to Rex. "You wanted me to hurt," Rex said quietly. "You wanted me to feel what you felt. Fine. I'm hurting. You win. Now let her go." "I don't believe you." "Then what do you believe?" Wade's face twisted. "I believe you took everything from me. My girlfriend, my home, my pride. And I'm going to take everything from you, starting with her." He raised the pistol toward Sarah's head. Rex moved, not toward Wade, toward the ground. He hit the dirt hard, rolled, and came up with a knife in his hand, small, concealable, strapped to his ankle, where Wade's men hadn't thought to look. Wade fired. The bullet screamed past Rex's shoulder, missing by inches. Rex threw the knife. It spun through the air, a silver blur in the moonlight, and buried itself in Wade's forearm. Wade screamed, dropping the pistol. It clattered against the truck door and fell into the dirt. Marcus Holt opened fire. Bullets tore through the air where Rex had been standing half a second ago. But Rex was already moving, sprinting toward Wade's truck in a low crouch, using the vehicle for cover. Behind him, the Iron Revenants returned fire. Muzzle flashes lit up the night. The sound was deafening, overlapping cracks of rifle fire, shouts, screams, chaos. Rex reached the passenger door and ripped it open. Sarah tumbled out, gasping, her hands still bound. Rex caught her before she hit the ground. "Can you run?" he asked. She nodded, eyes wide with terror. "Then run. Back to the trailer. Don't stop." He cut the zip ties with the knife Wade had dropped. Sarah staggered to her feet and ran, stumbling through the darkness toward the distant lights of the fortified trailer. Wade lunged at Rex from around the truck, blood pouring from his arm, face contorted with rage. He swung a wild punch. Rex blocked it, countered with a jab that snapped Wade's head back. Wade fell against the truck, gasping. "You ruined everything," Wade rasped. "No," Rex said. "You did that yourself." Wade's hand scrabbled along the ground, searching for the dropped pistol. Rex kicked it away. It's over, Rex said. It's not over until you're dead. Wade pulled a second knife from his belt and slashed wildly. The blade caught Rex across the ribs, cutting through his jacket and shirt. Pain flared white-hot. Rex staggered back, blood soaking into his clothes. Wade lunged again. This time Rex was ready. He sidestepped, grabbed Wade's knife arm, and twisted hard. Bone cracked. Wade screamed. The knife fell. Rex drove his fist into Wade's broken jaw. Once, twice, 3 times. Each hit accompanied by a wet crunch. Wade collapsed, blood pouring from his mouth, barely conscious. Rex stood over him, breathing hard, blood dripping from his side. You should have walked away when I gave you the chance, Rex said. He turned toward the sound of gunfire. The battle was chaos. Marcus Holt's crew had better weapons and training, but the Iron Revenants had numbers and desperation. Bullets tore through the night. Someone screamed. An explosion, Molotov cocktail, lit up the western flank, sending bikers scattering. Ghost's voice crackled over someone's dropped radio. We're getting flanked. East side. We need... Static. Rex grabbed Wade's fallen rifle and started running toward the firefight. His side burned. Every breath felt like broken glass grinding against his ribs. But he kept moving. 50 yards from the trailer, he found Torres pinned down behind sandbags, blood streaming from a shoulder wound. Where's Ghost? What? Rex shouted over the gunfire. North side. He's trying to flank Marcus. How many hostiles left? 3, maybe 4. Rex vaulted over the sandbags and sprinted north, staying low. Bullets kicked up dirt inches from his boots. He found Ghost crouched behind Kara's pickup truck, reloading. Ghost's face was pale, covered in dust and blood. You good? Rex asked. Been better. You? Same. Sarah? Safe. Inside. Ghost nodded, then pointed toward a cluster of rocks 50 yards north. Marcus is behind those rocks. 2 guys with him. They've got high ground and better angles. We rush them, we die. Then we don't rush them. What's the play? Rex looked at the burning Molotov wreckage, then at the propane tank stacked near Kara's trailer, backup heating for winter. How good's your aim? Rex asked. Why? Rex pointed at the propane tanks. Ghost's eyes widened. That's insane. It's all we've got. If you miss, we blow ourselves up. Then don't miss. Ghost stared at him for a moment. Then he laughed. A short, desperate sound. All right, on 3? On 3. They moved together. Rex laid down suppressing fire while Ghost sprinted to the propane tanks, unscrewed the valve on one, and rolled it toward the rocks where Marcus and his crew were hiding. Marcus saw it coming. His eyes went wide. Move, move! Marcus screamed. His men scattered. Ghost raised his rifle, took a breath, and fired. The propane tank exploded in a ball of fire that lit up the entire desert. The shockwave knocked Rex flat. Heat washed over him like a physical force. Screaming, more gunfire, chaos. When Rex's ears stopped ringing, he pushed himself to his feet. 2 of Marcus's crew were down. One wasn't moving. The other crawled through the dirt, clothes smoldering, rifle abandoned. Marcus himself had taken cover behind a boulder, but his face was burned, one arm hanging useless at his side. Rex walked toward him slowly, rifle raised. Marcus looked up, defeat written across his face. Just do it, Marcus said quietly. Rex stared at him. Why'd you take the job? Rex asked. Owed Wade a favor, Fallujah. Long time ago. Worth dying for? Marcus laughed bitterly. Nothing's worth dying for, but some debts don't give you a choice. Rex lowered his rifle slightly. Get out of here. Take your men. Don't come back. Marcus stared at him. You're letting me go? I'm giving you the chance Wade should have taken. Don't waste it. Marcus nodded slowly. He struggled to his feet, grabbed his injured teammate, and started dragging him toward one of the surviving vehicles. Rex watched them disappear into the darkness. Behind him, Ghost appeared, limping badly. You let him go, Ghost said. Yeah. Why? Because we're not executioners. Wade would have killed him. I'm not Wade. Ghost nodded slowly. The gunfire had stopped. Silence settled over the desert like ash. Bikers emerged from cover, checking casualties, securing the perimeter. Mason shouted orders. Torres worked on triage. Rex walked back toward Wade's truck. Wade was gone. A trail of blood led east into the darkness. Rex followed it for 30 yards before finding Wade collapsed against a mesquite tree, barely breathing. Rex crouched beside him. "It's over," Rex said. Wade's eyes fluttered open. "No," Wade whispered. "It's not." He pulled a phone from his pocket with shaking hands. The screen was cracked but functional. "What did you do?" Rex asked. Wade smiled. "A broken, bloody thing." "Insurance," he rasped. He pressed send on a pre-written message. Rex grabbed the phone. The message had gone to a number Rex didn't recognize. The text was simple. "Go." "What does that mean?" Rex demanded. Wade coughed, blood spraying from his mouth. "Means you won, but Eli loses." Rex's blood went cold. "What are you talking about? You think I didn't have a backup plan? I've had someone watching that cabin since yesterday, waiting for my signal." Rex grabbed Wade by the throat. "Who?" "Friend, another vet. Owes me. If I didn't check in by midnight, or if I sent that message—" Wade's smile widened. He was supposed to burn it down, with the kid inside. Rex's world shattered. He dropped Wade and grabbed his phone, dialing Cole's number. It rang once, twice, 3 times. No answer. Rex tried again. Still nothing. "No," Rex whispered. He stood up and started running toward his bike. Ghost intercepted him. "What's wrong?" "Eli." Wade sent someone after Eli. Ghost's face went pale. "How long?" "I don't know. We have to go. Now." "That's 2 hours into the mountains. We might already be—" "Don't." Rex swung his leg over his Harley and kicked the engine to life. The rumble shook the ground beneath him. Ghost climbed on his own bike. "I'm coming with you." Mason appeared, bloodied but standing. "Us too," Mason said. 6 other bikers mounted their bikes behind him. Rex looked at them, exhausted, wounded, loyal to the end. "You don't have to—" "Shut up and ride, Ghost said. Rex twisted the throttle. The bikes roared out of the desert in formation, headlights cutting through the darkness like searchlights, hunting for hope in a world that had run out of it. Behind them, Kara stood on the porch of her destroyed trailer, watching them disappear. Sarah emerged beside her, wrapped in a blanket, shaking. "Where are they going?" Sarah asked. Kara's face was carved from stone. "To save the boy I tried to sacrifice." The ride through the mountains was pure desperation, translated into speed. Rex pushed his Harley past every safe limit, engine screaming, tires barely gripping the curves. Behind him, the pack of bikers followed like wolves chasing salvation. The mountain roads twisted and climbed. No guardrails, no lights, just darkness and the occasional flash of reflective paint marking hairpin turns that could kill a man if he miscalculated by inches. Rex's phone buzzed. He pulled it out with one hand, the bike wobbling dangerously. A text from an unknown number. "Cabin's burning. Kids inside. You're too late." Rex's vision blurred. Not from tears, from rage so pure it felt like his skull was splitting. He accelerated harder. The cabin appeared 20 minutes later, or what was left of it. Flames engulfed the structure, orange light painting the surrounding pines in hellish shades. Smoke billowed into the night sky. Rex barely stopped his bike before throwing himself off. He ran toward the flames. "Eli!" he screamed. Ghost tackled him from behind, dragging him back. "You can't go in there. The structure's collapsing. Let me go!" "Rex, stop! Look!" Ghost pointed. 50 yards from the burning cabin, illuminated by firelight, stood Cole Briggs. Blood poured from a gash on his forehead. His shirt was torn. And in his arms, unconscious but breathing, was Eli Thorne. Rex's legs nearly gave out. He stumbled toward them, Ghost supporting him from behind. "He's alive," Cole said, setting Eli down gently on the ground. Smoke inhalation, maybe a concussion, but alive. "How—" "Guy showed up an hour ago. Tried to burn us out. I got the kid through a window before the fire spread. Then I beat the shit out of that bastard." "Where is he?" Cole pointed toward the trees. A man lay zip-tied to a pine tree, face swollen, nose broken. He stared at Rex with pure hatred. Rex walked over slowly. "Wade sent you," Rex said. The man spat blood. "Told me to burn the kid alive. Would have done it too if that old bastard hadn't—" Rex punched him so hard the tree shook. The man's head snapped sideways, blood spraying. "Rex!" Ghost grabbed his arm. "He's not worth it." Rex stood there, fists clenched, breathing hard. Behind them, Mason knelt beside Eli, checking his pulse. "Kid's stable," Mason called out. "But we need to get him to a hospital." Rex nodded numbly. They loaded Eli into the back of Mason's truck, wrapped in blankets. Cole climbed in beside him, refusing medical attention for himself. "I'll stay with him," Cole said. Rex met his eyes. "Thank you. Don't thank me. Just make sure whoever did this doesn't get to try again." "They won't." The convoy started back down the mountain. Rex rode at the front, mind racing. Wade had lost. His crew was scattered, his plan had failed, but the cost... The cost was written in blood, fire, and trauma that would take years to heal. By the time they reached Black Ridge, dawn was breaking over the desert. The sky turned from black to purple to orange. A new day arriving whether anyone was ready for it or not. The hospital parking lot filled with motorcycles. Nurses and doctors stared as 30 bikers walked through the emergency room doors. Eli was rushed into trauma. Cole went with him. Rex tried to follow, but a nurse stopped him. "Family only." "I am family. Not according to..." Ghost stepped forward and pulled out his wallet. He flashed something, an ID Rex couldn't see. The nurse's expression changed. "Go ahead." Rex didn't ask questions. He walked into the trauma bay where doctors worked on Eli, checking vitals, administering oxygen, running tests. After 20 minutes, a doctor emerged. "He's going to be fine," she said. "Smoke inhalation was mild, no permanent damage. We'll keep him overnight for observation, but he should make a full recovery." Rex sagged against the wall, relief crashing over him like a wave. Ghost put a hand on his shoulder. "You did it," Ghost said quietly. "Did what?" "Saved him. Almost got him killed." "But you didn't." Rex closed his eyes. "It's not over," he said. "What do you mean?" "Wade's still out there. Wounded. Desperate. He's not going to stop." "Then we finish it." Rex opened his eyes and looked at Ghost. "How?" Ghost's expression was hard. "We find him, and we end this. Tonight." The Iron Revenants gathered in the hospital parking lot as the sun climbed higher. 30 bikers. Exhausted. Wounded. Furious. Rex stood in the center, his voice carrying across the group. "Wade Carver tried to kill a 14-year-old kid tonight. He shot up our clubhouse. He took my sister hostage. He betrayed every code we live by." Silence. "I'm going after him," Rex continued. "Right now. Anyone who wants to walk away, do it. No judgment. You've all bled enough." Nobody moved. Torres stepped forward. "Where do we find him?" Rex pulled out his phone and opened a tracking app. A red dot blinked on the screen. 2 miles east, Wade's truck. He's either dead or dying. Either way, we're making sure." "And if he's alive?" Mason asked. Rex's expression was carved from stone. "Then we give him one last chance to surrender. And if he doesn't..." Rex didn't finish the sentence. He didn't have to. The bikers mounted their motorcycles. Engines roared to life. The sound echoed across the parking lot like thunder promising a storm. And as the Iron Revenants rode out into the morning sun, heading toward a final confrontation with a man who'd declared war on everything they protected, Rex understood something fundamental about the path they'd chosen. They weren't heroes. They were just broken people trying to keep other broken people alive, and sometimes that meant becoming the thing everyone else feared. The tracking signal led them to an abandoned gas station 3 miles outside Black Ridge. The place had been closed for a decade. Rusted pumps, shattered windows, graffiti covering every surface. Wade's truck sat in the parking lot, driver's door open, engine cold. The bikers spread out, covering exits, checking corners. Rex walked forward slowly, rifle raised. He found Wade inside the gas station, slumped against a wall in a pool of his own blood. His eyes were open but unfocused. His breathing was shallow, labored. Rex crouched beside him. "It's over. Wade." Wade's eyes slowly focused on Rex's face. "Not yet," Wade whispered. He lifted his hand. In it, he held a dead man's switch, a small device with a single red button pressed down beneath his thumb. Rex's blood froze. "What is that?" Wade smiled, one last broken, defiant expression. Explosive. Under Kara's trailer. Remote detonator. I let go. He coughed blood. Boom. Rex stared at him. You're bluffing. Call my bluff. Behind Rex, Ghost appeared in the doorway. Rex, we got a problem. Just got a call from the trailer. Kara found something under the floor. Says it looks like military-grade C4. Rex's world tilted. Wade laughed, a wet, dying sound. Told you, it's not over. Ich bei me. Rex grabbed Wade's wrist, trying to pry the device free. Wade's grip tightened, blood slicking his palm, but his fingers locked around the button. Let go, Aki, Rex said through gritted teeth. Make me. Wade, you took everything from me, so I'm taking everything from you, even if I die doing it. Rex stared into Wade's eyes and saw nothing. No humanity, no reason, just a black void where a person used to be. There's still a way out of this, Rex said quietly. No, there's not. We can disarm it. Get you medical attention. You don't have to. I'm already dead, Mercer. Have been since you broke my jaw. Since you turned Kara against me. Since you decided my life didn't matter. That's not... It is! Wade's voice cracked. You think you're a hero? You're not. You're just another guy with a gun deciding who lives and who dies. And tonight... He coughed more blood. Tonight you chose wrong. His thumb started to slip. Rex moved on instinct. He grabbed Wade's wrist with both hands, holding the dead man's switch in place. Ghost, get everyone away from the trailer now! Ghost ran. Rex looked at Wade. How do I disarm it? You don't. Wade? There's no code, no safety. I let go. It blows. I die. My hand relaxes, it blows. There's no way out. Rex's mind raced. If he let go, Wade died and the bomb exploded. If he held on, Wade died slowly, and eventually Rex's grip would slip. Either way, Kara died. Unless... Rex pulled out his phone with his free hand and called Mason. Yeah? Mason answered. How fast can you get to Kara's trailer? I'm already here. What do you need? Oh, there's C4 under the floor. Remote detonator. You have to find it and cut the wires, now. Rex, I'm not a bomb tech. I don't care. Just do it. Silence. Then, all right. Give me 2 minutes. You've got 90 seconds. Rex hung up and looked at Wade. You're gonna die here, Rex said quietly. But you don't have to take anyone else with you. Yes, I do, because that's all I have left. That's not true. It is. Wade's eyes filled with tears. I lost my career, my family, my mind, everything that made me human. And you know what the worst part is? What? I can't even remember who I was before. Before the war, before the PTSD, before Kara. It's all just gone. Rex's throat tightened. I know what that feels like. No, you don't. You have brothers, a code, something to believe in. I don't have anything except this. He looked at the dead man's switch. This is all I am now. Just a broken weapon someone forgot to disarm. Rex's phone buzzed. A text from Mason. Found it. 5 wires. Which one? Rex looked at Wade. Tell me which wire. Wade laughed. Why would I do that? Because somewhere under all this pain, there's still a man who served his country. A man who once cared about something other than destruction. That man died in Fallujah. No, he's right here. And he has one chance left to do something that matters. Wade's eyes met Rex's. For a moment, just a moment, something human flickered behind the madness. Red wire, Wade whispered. Cut the red wire. Rex texted Mason immediately. Red wire. Seconds stretched into eternity. Wade's grip on the dead man's switch weakened. His eyes started to close. Stay with me, Rex said. Why? Because I'm not letting you die alone. Wade's eyes opened slightly. Why do you care? Because I've been where you are, and someone cared enough to pull me back. Who? Rex thought about Afghanistan, about the men he'd lost, about the promises he'd made, people who believed I was worth saving, even when I didn't. Wade's breathing slowed. I'm sorry, Wade whispered. For what? Everything. His hand went limp. The dead man's switch started to release. Rex grabbed it, his fingers closing around Wade's, holding the button down. His phone buzzed. A text from Mason. Wires cut. Bombs disarmed. Rex exhaled a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. He looked at Wade. The man's eyes were closed now. His chest still rose and fell, barely, but he was alive. Ghost appeared in the doorway with paramedics behind him. Is he alive, Rex said. For now. The paramedics rushed in, taking over. They stabilized Wade, loaded him onto a stretcher, and carried him out to an ambulance. Rex stood up slowly, his entire body shaking. Ghost handed him a cigarette. Rex took it with trembling hands. You saved him, Ghost said. I didn't save anyone. I just kept more people from dying. That's the same thing. No, it's not. They stood there in silence, watching the ambulance drive away with Wade inside. What happens now? Ghost asked. Rex took a long drag from the cigarette. Now, we wait. See if Wade survives. See if he talks. See if any of this meant anything. And if it didn't? Rex looked at him. Then we start over, like we always do. The sun was fully up now, painting the desert in shades of gold. The iron revenants began to disperse, some heading to the hospital to check on Eli, others returning to the clubhouse to assess damage, a few simply riding off into the morning to process everything that had happened. Rex stayed behind, staring at the abandoned gas station. His phone rang. Kara's name flashed on the screen. He answered. Yeah? Is it over? Her voice was raw, exhausted. Yeah. Is he alive? Barely, but alive. Good. Silence. Kara, I know what I did, Rex. I know I betrayed you, all of you, and I'll spend the rest of my life trying to make up for it. You were protecting your son. I was also a coward, and people almost died because of me. Rex didn't argue. Eli's asking for you, Kara said finally. When you're ready, no rush, just when you're ready. I'll be there. He ended the call and climbed back on his bike. Ghost waited beside him. You good? Ghost asked. No. Yeah, me neither. They rode back toward Black Ridge together, the morning sun warming their backs, the desert stretching endlessly in all directions. And for the first time in days, Rex allowed himself to believe that maybe, just maybe, they'd survived the worst of it. But deep down, in the part of him that had seen too much and lost too often, he knew better. Because men like Wade didn't appear out of nowhere. They were created by systems that failed them, by wars that broke them, by societies that forgot them. And until those things changed, there would always be another Wade Carver waiting in the shadows. Always another fight. Always another choice between survival and surrender. And the Iron Revenants would be there. Not because they wanted to be, but because someone had to. The hospital room smelled like antiseptic and old coffee. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead, casting everything in a pale, clinical glow that made healthy people look sick and sick people look half dead. Eli lay in the bed nearest the window, oxygen tube under his nose, IV line snaking into his left arm. His eyes were closed, but his breathing was steady, rhythmic, alive. Rex sat in the chair beside the bed, elbows on his knees, hands clasped together like he was holding on to something invisible that might slip away if he let go. He hadn't slept in 36 hours. His side still ached from Wade's knife. His knuckles were split and swollen, but he stayed, because leaving felt like breaking a promise. The door opened quietly. Sarah Mercer stepped inside, moving carefully like someone who'd learned that sudden movements attracted violence. She'd showered at the hospital, borrowed scrubs replacing her torn clothes, but her eyes still carried the haunted look of someone who'd survived something worse than death. She stopped when she saw Rex. Hey, she said quietly. Rex looked up. Hey, mind if I sit? It's a free country. Sarah pulled a second chair over and sat down slowly, leaving space between them. Siblings who'd been strangers for 8 years didn't collapse into easy reunion. They circled each other like wounded animals testing for threat. How's the kid? Sarah asked. Alive. Doctors say he'll be fine. That's good. Yeah, met. Silence stretched between them. Outside the window, the sun climbed higher over Black Ridge. Morning traffic started picking up. Trucks heading to construction sites. School buses rolling through neighborhoods. The machinery of normal life grinding forward like nothing had happened. Where have you been? Rex asked finally. His voice was flat, empty of accusation. Sarah looked at her hands. Everywhere, nowhere, trying to disappear. Why? Because after Dad died, I couldn't... She stopped, started again. I couldn't be in the same town where everyone knew what he did to us. Couldn't walk past the house. Couldn't see the people who heard us screaming and never called the cops. Rex nodded slowly. So you left? Yeah. Without saying goodbye. I didn't think you'd care. Rex's jaw tightened. I looked for you for 2 years. Called hospitals, shelters, filed missing person reports, hired a private investigator I couldn't afford. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. I didn't know. How could you? You were gone. I'm sorry. Rex stared at the floor. Don't be. You survived. That's all that matters. Is it? Has to be. Sarah wiped her eyes. How'd Wade find me? She asked. Don't know. Best guess? He hired someone. Pulled records. Tracked you down through employment history or social services. Probably cost him everything he had left. All that just to hurt you. Yeah. That's insane, Hassel. Rex looked at her. Pain makes people do insane things. You know that better than anyone. Sarah nodded slowly. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Sarah spoke again, her voice barely above a whisper. What happened to you, Rex? After I left? Army, 2 deployments, got out, drifted, found the club, been here ever since. You ever think about leaving? Every day. But you don't. Can't. These guys, they're all I've got. Sarah looked at Eli sleeping in the bed. And him? Rex's expression softened slightly. He's different. He's family. Rex didn't answer, but the silence was answer enough. Sarah reached over and squeezed his hand. Rex flinched slightly, then relaxed. I'm not going anywhere this time, Sissy, Sarah said. If you'll let me stay. Rex looked at her, really looked at her, for the first time in 8 years. Yeah, he said finally. I'd like that. Eli stirred in the bed. His eyes fluttered open. He looked around slowly, disoriented, before his gaze landed on Rex. You're still here, Eli said, voice hoarse. Yeah. Why? Someone's got to make sure you don't sneak out and do something stupid. Eli almost smiled. Where's my mom? On her way? Got held up answering questions for the cops. Is she okay? She's alive. That's what counts. Eli's hand moved to his throat, touching the oxygen tube like he'd just remembered it was there. Cole got me out, Eli said. Before the fire spread. I remember him dragging me through a window. Then nothing. You got lucky. Doesn't feel lucky. It never does. Eli looked at Rex for a long moment. You came for me, even after everything. Even after... His voice broke. Rex leaned forward. Listen to me, Rex said quietly. None of this was your fault. Not Wade. Not the shooting. Not the fire. You were a kid trying to protect your mom. That's not something to apologize for. People got hurt because of me. People got hurt because Wade was a broken man who made bad choices. That's on him, not you. Eli's eyes filled with tears. I thought I was going to die in that cabin. I thought... But you didn't. Why? Why does everyone keep saving me? Rex's throat tightened. Because you're worth saving. How do you know? Because I was you once. 14 years old, bruised, scared, convinced the world was nothing but violence and pain. And someone told me the same thing I'm telling you now. What's that? That the people who hurt you don't get to decide who you become. Eli stared at him. Who told you that? Rex looked out the window. A sergeant in basic training, guy named Martinez. He saw me getting into fights, acting out, trying to get kicked out before I got sent overseas, and instead of writing me up, he pulled me aside and said, Mercer, you can spend your whole life punching ghosts, or you can learn to protect people who can't protect themselves. Your choice. What'd you choose? Both. For a long time, I did both. Still do sometimes. Does it get easier? Rex met his eyes. No. But you get stronger. What? Eli nodded slowly. He wiped his eyes with the back of his hand. What happens now? Eli asked. Now you heal. Then we figure out the rest. What about Wade? Rex's expression hardened. Wade's in custody, ICU, 2 floors down, under guard. He's facing attempted murder, arson, kidnapping, list goes on. He's not getting out, ever. Good. The door opened again. Kara rushed in, eyes red from crying, makeup smeared. She made a beeline for Eli, wrapping her arms around him carefully, avoiding the IV lines. Oh, God, you're okay. You're okay. She kept repeating it like a prayer. Eli hugged her back, tears streaming down his face. I'm okay, Mom. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for everything. I should have... It's okay. It's not okay. I put you in danger. I lied to Rex. Mom. Eli's voice was firm. It's okay. Kara pulled back slightly, looking at her son's face. How are you so calm? Eli glanced at Rex. Someone taught me. Kara followed his gaze. She looked at Rex for a long moment, guilt and gratitude warring across her face. I don't know how to thank you, Kara said quietly. Rex stood up. You don't have to. I betrayed you. I told Wade about Sarah. I fed him information. People almost died. But they didn't. Only because you stopped him. Rex moved toward the door. You were protecting your kid. I get it. I don't like it, but I get it. Where are you going away? Kara asked. Got things to handle. Club business. When will you be back? Rex paused at the door. When you need me. He walked out before anyone could respond. In the hallway, Ghost and Mason waited, leaning against the wall like sentries guarding something sacred. Kid okay? Ghost asked. Yeah. And you? Working on it. Mason pushed off the wall. We got a problem. What now? Cops want statements. All of us. They're talking about charging us with vigilantism, unlawful imprisonment, assault with deadly weapons. We were defending ourselves. That's what I told them. They're not convinced. Rex exhaled slowly. Who's handling it? Torres called his brother, defense attorney out of Phoenix. Says he can make most of it go away, but we're going to have to cooperate fully. Meaning we tell them everything. Wade, Marcus, the whole thing. Rex's jaw tightened. That puts us in the system, makes us targets. We're already targets, Ghost said. At least this way we control the narrative. Rex thought about it for a moment, then nodded. All right, set up the meetings. But everyone lawyers up first. Nobody talks without representation. Done. They walked toward the exit together. Outside, the parking lot was still filled with motorcycles. 30 bikes lined up in formation like a battalion waiting for orders. The Iron Revenant stood in loose clusters, smoking, talking quietly, waiting. Rex stepped out into the sunlight, every head turned toward him. Listen up, Rex called out. The conversation stopped. Last 48 hours have been hell, Rex said. We got shot at, burned out, almost lost people we care about. And now the cops are coming for us with charges that could put some of us away for years. Silence. So here's what's happening. We cooperate fully. We tell them everything about Wade, Marcus, the whole operation. We go through the legal system the right way. And if that doesn't work, someone called out, then we deal with it together, like we always do. Torres stepped forward. What about the clubhouse? We rebuild. With what money? However we get it. Fundraisers. Loans. Doesn't matter. That building is ours. And we're not letting Wade's insanity take it from us. Nods of agreement rippled through the crowd. One more thing, Rex said. Eli and Kara need a place to stay. Their trailer's compromised. Anyone got room? Ghost raised his hand. I got a spare bedroom. They can have it long as they need. Thanks. Rex looked around at the faces staring back at him. Men he'd bled with, fought beside, trusted with his life. I know I ask a lot from you guys, Rex said quietly. More than I have any right to, and I know some of you are questioning whether this life is worth it. No one spoke. I can't tell you what to do, but I can tell you this. What we did these last few days, pulling a kid out of hell, protecting his mom, stopping a man from burning down everything he touched, that matters. That means something. He paused. And if it doesn't, then nothing does. The silence held for a long moment. Then Torres started his bike. The engine roared to life. One by one, the others followed. 30 engines rumbling in unison. The sound shook the ground. Rex climbed on his own Harley and twisted the throttle. They rode out of the hospital parking lot together, a convoy of leather and steel and loyalty forged in fire. 3 weeks later, the clubhouse was unrecognizable. Fresh drywall covered the bullet holes. New windows reflected the desert sun. The plywood fortifications were gone, replaced by reinforced steel frames and shatterproof glass. Inside, the smell of sawdust and fresh paint had replaced the lingering scent of gunpowder and fear. Rex stood in the middle of the main room, hands on his hips, surveying the work. Ghost appeared beside him, carrying a box of supplies. "Looks good," Ghost said. "Looks different." "That's not always bad." Rex nodded slowly. The door opened. Eli walked in, carrying 2 coffees from the diner down the street. He'd filled out slightly in the past 3 weeks. Better food, less stress, actual sleep. The bruises had faded. The haunted look in his eyes had dimmed, though it hadn't disappeared entirely. "Brought you guys coffee," Eli said. Rex took one. "Thanks." Eli looked around the clubhouse. "It's really coming together." "Yeah." "When's the reopening?" "Next week. Big party." "Whole town's invited." "Even the cops?" "Especially the cops. Gotta show them we're not the enemy." Eli set the second coffee down on the bar. "Can I ask you something?" Eli said. "Sure." "Why'd you let me start hanging around here? I'm just a kid. I don't ride. I'm not a member." Rex looked at him. "You walked into a room full of dangerous men and asked for help when you had every reason to believe we'd turn you away. That takes guts, and guts matter more than patches." "That's it?" "That's it." Eli nodded slowly. "Ghost says you're teaching me to ride next month. If your mom agrees." "She will. She trusts you." Rex's throat tightened slightly. "She shouldn't." "Why not?" "Because I'm the guy who almost got you killed." Eli shook his head. "No. You're the guy who kept me alive when everyone else gave up." Before Rex could respond, the door opened again. Kara walked in with Sarah. They'd been spending time together over the past few weeks. 2 women who'd survived different versions of the same nightmare, finding common ground in shared trauma and gradual healing. "We brought lunch," Kara announced, holding up bags from the Mexican place on Main Street. "You didn't have to do that," Rex said. "I know, but you've been working for 12 hours straight. Someone needs to make sure you eat." They spread the food out on the bar. Tacos, burritos, chips and salsa. The kind of simple meal that tasted better because it was shared. As they ate, conversation flowed naturally. Eli talked about school, how he'd gone back last week and actually made a friend. Kara mentioned the new job she'd landed at a medical clinic downtown. Sarah was quiet, but present, contributing small observations that suggested she was slowly coming back to the world. Rex watched them. These people who'd been strangers a month ago and now felt like something more permanent, something that might actually last. "What are you thinking about?" Ghost asked quietly. "How strange this is," Rex said. "What?" "This. Sitting here, eating lunch, acting like normal people. We are normal people." "No, we're broken people pretending to be normal. What's the difference?" Rex thought about it. "I don't know anymore." After lunch, Eli asked if he could help with the renovation work. Rex handed him a paintbrush and pointed at a wall that needed a second coat. The kid worked carefully, methodically, focusing on the task like it was the most important thing in the world. Rex watched him for a moment, then turned back to his own work. Hours passed. The sun moved across the sky. Slowly, the clubhouse transformed from a construction site into something that actually felt like home. As evening approached, Torres showed up with news. "DA dropped most of the charges," Torres said. "Prosecutor agreed we acted in self-defense. Wade's facing 25 to life. Marcus took a plea deal, 5 years for his testimony." Rex exhaled slowly. "So we're clear?" "Mostly. Still got to do community service, 100 hours each, but no jail time. I'll take it." Torres nodded. "One more thing. Wade wants to talk to you." Rex went very still. "Why?" "Didn't say. But his lawyer called. Said it's important. Tell him no." Rex, I said no." Torres hesitated, then nodded. "All right, I'll let them know." But that night, as Rex lay in bed staring at the ceiling, he couldn't stop thinking about it. What did Wade want to say? Apology? Threat? Last words before disappearing into the prison system forever? At 2 a.m., Rex gave up on sleep. He got dressed, climbed on his bike, and rode to the hospital. Wade had been transferred to the county jail medical wing 3 days ago. Rex had to go through 2 security checkpoints and surrender his weapons before they let him into the visitor area. Wade sat on the other side of reinforced glass, hands shackled, jaw still wired shut but healing. His eyes were clearer now, medication and forced sobriety burning away the fog of alcohol and rage. Rex picked up the phone. Wade did the same. They stared at each other for a long moment. "Why'd you want to see me?" Rex asked. Wade's voice came through the phone, distorted, mechanical. "To tell you I'm sorry." Rex's jaw tightened. "Little late for that. I know. You tried to kill a kid. You shot up my clubhouse. You kidnapped my sister. I know. And now you're sorry?" Wade looked down at his shackled hands. "I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't even expect you to understand. But I needed to say it. Before I go away. Before I lose the chance." Rex leaned forward. "Why'd you do it, Wade? Really? What did you think you'd accomplish?" Wade was quiet for a long moment. "I thought if I destroyed you, I'd feel whole again. Like all the pain would disappear if I could just make someone else hurt more than me." "And did it work?" "No. It just made everything worse." Rex exhaled slowly. "You were a Marine. You served. You survived shit most people can't imagine. What happened?" "I came home," Wade said simply. "And I couldn't figure out how to be a person again. The VA tried to help. Medications, therapy, support groups, but nothing worked. And then I met Kara. And for a while I thought maybe she could fix me. People can't fix other people. I know that now, but back then," Wade shook his head. "Back then I thought love was supposed to heal everything. And when it didn't, I blamed her. Then I blamed you. Then I blamed everyone except myself. And now I know I was this problem. I always was." Rex stared at him. "Why tell me this?" "Because you're going to see Eli grow up. You're going to watch him become a man. And when you do, I need you to tell him something for me." "What?" Wade's eyes filled with tears. "Tell him that not everyone who hurts him is a monster. Some of them are just broken people who ran out of ways to ask for help." Rex's throat tightened. "That's not an excuse." "I know, but it's the truth." Silence stretched between them. "I'm not telling him that," Rex said finally. "Why not?" "Because you don't get to ask for understanding after what you did. You terrorized a woman and her child. You destroyed people's lives. That doesn't earn you sympathy. It earns you exactly what you're getting." Wade nodded slowly. "You're right. I know." Rex stood up. "Wait," Wade said. Rex stopped. "One more thing. Sarah." Rex's hands clenched into fists. "What about her?" "I never hurt her. I swear. I grabbed her, scared her, used her to get to you, but I wouldn't. That's supposed to make me feel better?" "No. It's supposed to let you sleep at night knowing your sister's still the person you remember, not the person I could have turned her into." Rex stared at him for a long moment. Rex. Then he hung up the phone and walked out without looking back. The grand reopening of the Iron Revenant's clubhouse happened on a Saturday in late December. The weather was cold but clear. Christmas lights decorated the newly rebuilt exterior. Inside, someone had hung garlands and put up a tree. Ghost's idea, though he'd never admit it. People started arriving around noon. Townspeople who'd been skeptical at first but gradually warmed to the idea that maybe these bikers weren't the monsters the news made them out to be. Veterans from the local VFW who recognized kindred spirits. Families with kids who ran around playing while their parents drank coffee and talked. Kara worked the kitchen with Sarah, serving burgers and hot dogs donated by local businesses. Eli ran the grill outside, supervised by Torres, who taught him the proper way to flip a patty without losing half of it to the coals. Rex stood near the bar watching it all unfold. The clubhouse felt different now, less like a fortress, more like a community center that happened to be run by men in leather cuts. Ghost appeared beside him holding 2 beers. "Looks good," Ghost said. Yeah. You okay? Honestly? I don't know. That's fair. They drank in comfortable silence. You ever think about what we're building here? Ghost asked. What do you mean? I mean, we're not just a motorcycle club anymore. We're something else. Something bigger. Rex looked around the room, at Eli laughing with Torres, at Kara smiling for the first time in months, at Sarah slowly becoming part of the family. Yes, Rex said quietly. I think about it all the time. And I think maybe that's not a bad thing. As the afternoon wore on, someone started playing music, country, classic rock, the kind of songs that made people want to sing along even if they didn't know all the words. Around 4 p.m., the mayor showed up. She was 63, gray-haired, and looked like someone's grandmother. But she carried herself with the authority of someone who'd been elected 4 times and didn't take crap from anyone. She found Rex near the door. Mr. Mercer, she said. Mayor Henderson, I wanted to thank you. Rex blinked. For what? For what you did with Wade Carver. The police told me everything, how you stopped him, protected that boy, kept this town from losing good people. I was just... Don't. Her voice was firm. Don't diminish it. What you and your club did was heroic, messy, yes, dangerous, absolutely, but heroic nonetheless. Rex didn't know what to say. This town has a history of looking the other way when violence happens, Mayor Henderson continued. We tell ourselves it's not our problem, that someone else will handle it. But you didn't do that. You stepped up, and that matters. She extended her hand. Rex shook it. If you ever need anything, she said, my door's open. She walked away, leaving Rex standing there processing what had just happened. Ghost appeared again. Did the mayor just thank us? I think so. That's weird. Yeah. As the sun started to set, people began filtering out. Families with tired kids, veterans heading home for dinner, townspeople promising to come back next week. By 7 p.m., only the Iron Revenants remained, plus Kara, Sarah, and Eli. They sat around the bar, exhausted but content. Someone ordered pizza. Someone else pulled out a bottle of whiskey. And slowly, the conversation turned from small talk to something deeper. Can I say something? Eli asked quietly. Everyone looked at him. I know I'm just a kid, and I know I don't really understand everything that happened, but... He paused. Thank you, all of you, for not giving up on me, or my mom, even when we didn't deserve it. Kara's eyes filled with tears. You deserved it, Rex said. You both did. How do you know? Because no one deserves to live in fear, ever. Eli nodded slowly. What happens now? He asked. Rex looked around the room at the faces staring back at him. Brothers who'd become family. Strangers who'd become something more. Now we live, Rex said simply. We rebuild. We protect each other. And we make sure what happened to you doesn't happen to anyone else. That's it? That's everything. Torres raised his glass. To survival. To family, Ghost added. To second chances, Mason said. They all drank. Hours later, after everyone else had gone home, Rex stood outside the clubhouse alone. The temperature had dropped. His breath misted in the cold air. Stars filled the sky above Black Ridge, millions of them, bright and clear in the desert darkness. He thought about Wade rotting in a jail cell, about Sarah slowly healing from years of running, about Kara learning to trust again, about Eli becoming the kind of man who asked for help instead of suffering in silence. He thought about all the broken pieces that had somehow come together to form something that looked almost like hope. Behind him, the door opened. Eli stepped out, hands shoved in his pockets. You okay? Eli asked. Yeah, just thinking. About what? Rex looked at the kid, this scrawny 14-year-old who'd walked into a biker clubhouse and changed everything. About how strange life is, Rex said. A month ago, I didn't know you existed. Now I can't imagine not knowing you. See, Eli smiled slightly. Ghost said you're going to teach me to ride next week. If you want. I do. All right. Saturday morning, 6 a.m. That early? Dessert's best before the sun gets too hot. Eli nodded. They stood there in comfortable silence for a moment. Rex? Eli said. Yeah? Do you think Wade was right? About broken people? Rex thought about the question carefully. I think people break in different ways, Rex said finally. Some of them put themselves back together. Some of them ask for help. And some of them, he paused, some of them decide to break everyone else instead. Which one are you? Rex looked at him. Still figuring that out. And me? You're the kind who asks for help. That makes you braver than most. Eli's throat tightened. I don't feel brave. No one ever does. They stayed outside for a while longer, watching the stars, breathing the cold desert air, existing in the quiet space between trauma and healing where most of life actually happens. Eventually, Eli went back inside. Rex stayed a moment longer, staring at the clubhouse, this rebuilt fortress that had become a home. His phone buzzed, a text from Kara. Thank you for everything. Rex typed back, That's what family does. He hit send and put the phone away. Then he walked back inside, locked the door behind him, and turned off the lights. 6 months later, the Iron Revenants Motorcycle Club held their annual charity ride for abused children. 200 bikes lined the highway. Riders from across the Southwest. Veterans, civilians, families. United by a single purpose, making sure no kid ever had to suffer alone again. Rex led the pack, riding his matte black Harley with Eli seated behind him. The kid had gotten his learner's permit but wasn't ready for highway speeds yet. Soon, though, soon. Behind them, the Iron Revenants rode in formation. Ghost, Mason, Torres, 30 brothers who'd survived hell and come out scarred but unbroken, and scattered throughout the convoy. Kara on her own bike, a small cruiser Rex had helped her buy. Sarah riding with Ghost, still learning but getting better. Other survivors, other families, other people who'd been pulled from darkness into light. As they roared down the desert highway, sunlight glinting off chrome and steel, Rex felt something he hadn't felt in 20 years. Peace. Not the absence of pain, not the erasure of trauma, just the quiet certainty that some things were worth protecting. Some people were worth saving, and some broken pieces could be forged into something stronger than they'd ever been whole. The convoy pulled into Black Ridge around noon. They parked outside the town square where a festival had been set up. Food trucks, live music, kids running around with balloons. The money raised would go toward shelters, counseling services, legal aid for domestic violence survivors. As Rex dismounted, Eli turned to him. You think we made a difference? Eli asked. Rex looked at the crowd, at the families, at the survivors wearing shirts that said, I am enough and I survived. Yeah, Rex said. I think we did. Eli smiled. Good, because I was thinking, next year, maybe I could help organize it. You've got school. Weekends exist. Rex studied the kid's face. 14 going on 40, still carrying scars but refusing to let them define him. All right, Rex said. Next year you're on the planning committee. Really? Really? Eli's smile widened. Mayor Henderson approached, flanked by reporters and photographers. Mr. Mercer, she said. Could we get a statement? Rex hated cameras, hated the spotlight, but he understood that visibility mattered, that showing the world what they'd built here could help other people build similar things elsewhere. Sure, he said. The cameras turned on. Microphones appeared. Mr. Mercer, your organization has raised over $50,000 for domestic violence services in the past 6 months. What inspired this work? Rex looked at Eli standing beside him, then at Kara and Sarah in the crowd, then at his brothers waiting patiently. We protect people, Rex said simply. It's what we do, and if we can turn that into something that helps others protect themselves, then we're doing our job. Some people say motorcycle clubs are inherently dangerous. How do you respond to that? Rex's jaw tightened slightly. Danger isn't about leather jackets or motorcycles. It's about intent. We don't hurt people. We stop people from being hurt. There's a difference. And what about Wade Carver? The man who is in prison where he belongs, Rex said firmly. Next question. The interview continued for another 10 minutes. Rex answered carefully, honestly, refusing to sensationalize or diminish what had happened. When it was finally over, he escaped into the crowd. Ghost found him near the beer tent. You did good, Ghost said. Felt weird. Being a hero usually does. I'm not a hero. Tell that to Eli. Rex looked across the square where Eli was talking with other kids, animated, laughing, alive. He did the hard part, Rex said. I just showed up. That's all heroes ever do. Rex didn't argue. As the afternoon stretched toward evening, the festival transformed into something quieter. Families sitting on blankets, live music playing softly. The kind of moment where people remember why community matters. Rex sat on the curb outside the square, watching the sunset paint the desert in shades of orange and gold. Sarah appeared and sat beside him. You know, Sarah said, I never thought I'd come back here. Why did you? Because you're here, and for the first time in my life, that felt like enough. Rex's throat tightened. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you back then. Sarah shook her head. You were a kid too. Rex, you did what you could. It wasn't enough. It kept me alive. That's everything. They sat in silence for a moment. What are you going to do now? Rex asked. Stay, get a job, build a life, stop running. You sure? Sarah looked at him. For the first time in 8 years, yeah, I'm sure. Rex nodded slowly. Good, because I'm done losing people. Me too. As full darkness fell, someone lit a bonfire in the square. People gathered around it, sharing stories, singing songs, existing together in a way that small towns used to before the world got too busy and too broken. Eli appeared and sat down beside Rex. Mom says we're heading home soon. All right. Wow. But she also said, Eli hesitated. She said if I want, I can keep coming to the clubhouse, learning about bikes, helping out. That what you want? Yeah. Then come by whenever. Door's always open. Eli smiled. Thanks, Rex. For what? For everything. For saving me, for teaching me, for... He stopped. For being someone I can count on. Rex's chest tightened. Kid, I'm not perfect. I'm gonna make mistakes. Gonna let you down sometimes. I know, but you'll show up anyway. That's what matters. Rex looked at this 14-year-old who'd somehow become the kid brother he never had. Yeah, Rex said quietly. I will. Kara appeared, keys in hand. Ready? She asked Eli. Yes. Eli stood up. He looked at Rex one more time. See you Saturday? 6 a.m., Rex confirmed. I'll be there. Rex. They walked away together, mother and son, heading toward a future that finally felt like it might hold something other than fear. Rex stayed by the bonfire until it burned down to embers. One by one, people filtered away, families heading home, bikers climbing back on their motorcycles and disappearing into the night. Eventually, only Rex remained. He stared at the dying fire, thinking about everything that had happened in the past 6 months. The violence, the trauma, the narrow escapes and impossible choices. And somehow, they'd all survived. Not intact, not unmarked, but alive. And maybe that was the only victory that mattered. Rex stood up slowly, his body aching from too many fights and not enough rest. He walked to his bike, climbed on, and started the engine. The rumble echoed across the empty square. He twisted the throttle and rode out of Black Ridge, heading north toward the clubhouse. The night air was cold against his face. Stars filled the sky. The highway stretched endlessly in both directions. And for the first time in 20 years, Rex Mercer felt something approaching hope. Not because the world had gotten better, but because he'd learned how to protect the small corners of it that mattered. One kid at a time, one family at a time, one broken person reaching back to pull another one forward. The clubhouse lights were still on when he arrived. Inside, Ghost and Mason sat at the bar playing cards. Thought you'd stayed in town, Ghost said. Nah, just needed to think. About? Rex pulled up a chair. About how we got here and where we're going. And I think we're doing all right. Mason dealt another hand. For a bunch of broken people pretending to be whole? Rex smiled, a rare, genuine thing, especially for that. They played cards until 2 a.m., talked about nothing and everything, made plans for next week's ride, argued about who made better coffee. And when Rex finally went to bed, exhausted and sore and carrying more scars than any 47-year-old should have to bear, he fell asleep without nightmares for the first time in months. Because home wasn't a place. It was people who stayed when staying got hard. And the Iron Revenants, these dangerous, damaged, fiercely loyal men, had taught him that lesson better than anyone. Outside, the desert stretched endlessly beneath a blanket of stars. Inside, the clubhouse hummed with the quiet sound of people who'd survived hell and refused to let it define them. And somewhere in Black Ridge, a 14-year-old boy named Eli Thorne slept peacefully, knowing that when morning came, someone would be there. Someone who kept promises. Someone who didn't abandon. Someone who understood that family wasn't the people who shared your blood. It was the people who bled with you and refused to let you bleed alone.